Good evening, everyone. Come one, come all to Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series for round 2 covering Split Yellow. Tonight we'll be racing at the historical Silverstone circuit in Northamptonshire County of the UK. Opened in 1948, this track is 5.8 kilometers long and the fastest GT3 lap is at 56.7 by Sandy Mitchell in the Hurricane Evo. Joining me tonight are Alexis Bowen and Daniel Sinclair on comms and the stalwart Glenn Germain on broadcast. We'll be bringing you 2 races, both 30 minutes in length, both requiring a mandatory stop for fuel. How much fuel? Down to the drivers. Short qualifying for both races and the top 10 finishes of race 1 will make up the top 10 of race 2's grid, but in reverse order. As we now have cars on track, it's time for qualifying, so let's see who's got the pace this week.
Thank you for that fantastic intro. I will say that a lot of great detail there on this fantastic Silverstone circuit, which I will say I do quite like. Interesting to note that the track condition right now is only fast. It is quite cool out there as well, so the track will ramp up as the session goes on, you would think. So you're not going to see the best of the times from the start.
I guess everyone will just be using these first few laps to get comfortable with the track conditions right now, and get a few laps rubbing into those tires, and then go for a fast one right at the end.
Some quick times, even though it's a fast track. The temperature is a lot cooler than it has been in the practice service that we've been running. Up into the 30s for the track. We're in the low 20s currently.
When you think about it, is a massive change when you have to consider like your tire pressures, your setup is now completely, well, not thrown out the window, but coming to the colder conditions now, you really have to make quite a lot of changes now to your setup.
There's a few changes you need to make, but generally it's all in that tire pressure. You'd think cooler track temperatures would produce faster times, but I'm not too sure about this sort of temperature, like 19 degrees ambient, 22 track. We are seeing low 58s at the moment, but as we said earlier, the track is only fast right now, so there is time to continue to get quicker and quicker.
All I can say is that, all I can say is that the engines will be absolutely loving the cold air right now, as we have Chris Cooley rocketing up to the top of the timesheets once again, just like he was last week, with a 58 flat. Gee, in fast conditions, yeah. Wow, good lap.
Very impressive stuff already from Cooley. No hold bars from this man so far, and I think we'll definitely see a 57 from him. Dare say maybe even a 56 if we get those optimum track at the very, very end. It might be a case of who runs last might benefit the most.
Yeah, we'll see when those track conditions change, but it will most likely be a case of whoever starts their final flying lap last. But currently your order, your top 5 is Cooley, then Herbert in the Porsche, Hobbs, who has made the switch to the Lamborghini, then you have Fleming and Cook.
Absolutely. Do have a few drivers changing cars in the light of the recent changes. Unfortunately, last week this split was anchored to whatever was actually no, they benefited from the existing LFM Bob as the update hadn't come out. So there's been an allowance of a 1-car change for every driver if they wish, due to the pecking order has severely changed. Somewhat, I think some cars have gained, some cars have definitely lost, but it might not be as drastic as we might think. Other changes such as Mike Crick has now switched from the 911 to the GTR, a very fetching livery I will say, and to tick the last few off, Arno Loz is in the 555 has switched from the Lamborghini to the Aston Martin, and we do have now Eric Scarni in the Lexus as well.
An excellent spread of manufacturers here. We even see Price there, where I believe the lone Bentley is bit of a off the road moment there for Chris Cooley. Just I think getting he's like compromised ever so slightly there by, I believe that was Melford? One of the rookie Porsches. Oh, no, McLarens, I must say.
Yeah, not too sure, but you were saying, yeah, that Bentley of was Road Price there. He's jumped in a Bentley and seems to be having a little bit of fun with it at the moment. So we're looking out Jacob Fleming, who is in fourth and has gone wide there at turn 1. So we'll come back to the pits, put on a fresh set of boots, and we'll go again for what should be just a few more flying laps.
Arno Loz here in one of the new Aston Martins for the grid. Lovely livery, lots of paint on there, lots of colour. I like to see it.
Yeah, it's to me it reminds me of a kid just going ham with the paintball gun.
Absolutely, he's done a good job there. I think Arno Loz is vying for that silver championship. He is only 10 points behind Carson in the standings after round 1. Obviously a bit early to tell, but you know, definitely all to play for. And the Aston Martin definitely looks stronger, I will say, regardless of losing the LFM bop that it did have.
It does seem like generally the cars are a bit more well matched since the new update, even without the LFM bop. So Kunos have done a reasonable sort of job getting things balanced out within their own stock BOP.
Definitely lots to learn still. Only I think we're just over a week from the update. Setups, I dare say everyone's probably still running a 1.9.5 setup, that's for sure. Yes, changes up and down the field. Very minor ones overall, to be honest, for each car. Nothing has had too drastic of changes. But you know, definitely a little bit to find maybe in the setup. For example, for the Aston Martin, the main change, the only change I believe, was a rear yaw gain change, according to what information has come out. Regarding to yaw, it's basically up and down on the X and Y axis, so it means that the rear is going to be rising more, I suspect, on the braking. So you might want to dial in a little bit more, say, rebound, I imagine. Don't ask me for technicals, I'm no good with setups. I picked the ones off the shelf.
Tends to be the most effective way of going about them these days if you are not quite within that technical mind. I know trying to organise setup myself has been quite difficult, just working out what all these little bits do, and I mean it's all changed in all the different updates, so sometimes it is always just that little bit easier to pick one that's ready to use.
I imagine the track is probably not too far. With this many cars, 31 cars on track, that's a lot of rubber being put down. I imagine we're not too far away from Optimum, if not there already.
No, I think Glenn just checked before and we are still on fast. So Koza getting a time of 57.2 is pretty respectable given the track conditions still aren't at their optimum.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And quite surprising too, because considering there's at least 23 cars on track, you'd expect the conditions to be at optimum by now.
Yeah, I think we actually have, yeah, we've got a couple drivers that are in the pits, so I think we have about 26 cars out on track at the moment, so plenty of drivers attending Split Yellow tonight, which is wonderful to see as we look at Ethan KO about to cross the line now and moves up into P2 there with a 57.597. Got one more opportunity to do it now. Here is Regan Herbert, who is still in the Porsche to Pit Viper livery. You love to see it. Remains in P5, but gets even closer to that front pack. So this is going to be very close as we get to the end. And no, Regan Herbert has gone wide there at turn 1, and that is his qualification done.
Done. That's all you get. All you pay for. not the only one to invalidate on the first corner. It's unfortunately make or break, sadly, for the whole lap, somewhat. Unfortunately, Koza has not been able to improve either, but all eyes now on Cooley, who is just a gnats away from being 110 up, but then it's gone again, and back down to 0-0. So hopefully he's got a lot of time to make up in the last second half of the second sector and the third sector. You know, 3 to 410, big ask, even for Mr. Cooley.
Even from, you could almost say, a Aston Martin factory back driver like Chris Cooley, as coming through that section, still almost equal to his previous fastest lap there, and he's got a lot of traffic to deal with now. So, I mean, he's got one more sector to do it, but it's looking grim for him to improve. As I just say that, as he's gone a little bit faster, and it's gone back down again. So,
and he's invalidated it there now, so that will be it for Mr. Cooley. He will not find that extra 100 to move ahead of Ethan Kale, and will be, at best be starting third. But Mitch Hobbs is still on a lap, can't improve though. So Hobbs will be P4. Here is Arno Loz, who is just over a tenth up, could potentially move his way up to sort of the best of the rest position there in P6, ahead of Maddox. We will see what happens. 555 car coming around the second to last corner. I mean, the last real corner. Now, coming up to the line, he is right there. Is he going to do it? Yes, he does, by 0.08 of a second.
And just pips Maddox there for the third row of the grid. Meanwhile, Sasha cementing her place in 8th place there. We have Keen trying to lift himself off the last row of the grid, and sorry, 30th I should say, and settles for P30.
That is your qualifying, and that is a very satisfying front row, I will say.
Ferrari 1-2 from the OES boys. You know, hashtag I'm not biased. Definitely not part of OES.
No bias.
No bias at all.
There.
Excellent
Absolutely
job,
not.
boys. Even though Mr. Cooley is also in OES as well. Let's say part-time, Christmas casual Cooley.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he likes to dip his toes everywhere. But as we go into the grid now, I'll have a look through the existing grid. Who wants to take it away? Dibs not.
I guess I'll take it away again, as we have Koza and Kale rounding out the front row of the grid. We have Cooley and Hobbs in the second row. We have Herbert to the left, Loz to the right on the third row of the grid. And we have Maddox, who was just pipped by Loz by, I believe it was 0.008 of a second for P6. Lines up in P7. Sasha Death, as always, a consistent front runner. She starts out in P8. Very, very simplistic, but very nice livery from the Kovacs BMW there. In P9, we have... Oh, I'm starting to... Someone else take it away, because I am really bad with...
Here we go.
Herod starting at P9, and Fleming rounding out the top 10 in the second pit Viper Porsche. Lovely looking liveries, honestly. We have Jones in 11th. Sicanius.
Yeah.
Sicanius, obviously, Greek name, in P12. Brimblecombe, P13.
Cookie.
And as always, Cookie, P14 in the number 14. Beautiful looking livery there. Atkinson with a brilliant qualifying in P15. Take a bow, mate. Upstaging a lot of Pro-Am and Silver drivers there, starting at P15. Well done. Matterford is P16. Carter with a bit of a... Oh, he's starting at P17. He would like to be a bit further up the grid to maybe match the OES boys.
Someone gone? There's a bit of a cavity there.
Yes,
Yeah,
someone seems to have disconnected.
Yeah.
Oh no. That,
Yeah.
no, not Stockton and not McLean either. We'll get back to that one.
very, very unfortunate there. Price in P20 with Taplin there, the first Nissan there in P21, Kumar in P22, Stratford the amateur driver in P23, and then we have Cricky in P25.
Lap 9 and then the other McLaren there. Oh, and as away we go, and Scania also the Lexus we saw at the end.
Yeah, there we go.
So memory was having to kick in to try to remember cars' names. Sorry about those at the back.
Yeah, I am terrible with memory, so I'm glad you're on my you're with me in the comment box there, Cam.
That's alright, it's a team effort, everybody wins. It's like a school sports day. As Koza leads away from Kale starting the formation lap, I wonder if we'll see. I'm getting flashbacks to Silverstone 2010 in their Formula Ones. Mr. Webber and Mr. Vettel were tit for tat. Oh dear, we've lost progress.
Yeah, we'll just got the stream closed on our end. It should hopefully be.
Put the lights back on.
Someone didn't pay the electricity bill.
But just looking in chat, we've got Benjamin BG36, Mace Page, Firelord, John, Lucas Keys, Maboon, and in the Twitch chat we got Juzzy, Patio, and Big Small Dog. Welcome everyone.
Everyone but Page.
Yes, but also seeing quite a few suggesting Atkinson Pro-Am, so we may have to start up a new little bit for the stream, hashtag Atkinson Pro-Am.
Hey, as we got the lights back on. Yep, Atkinson, the little McLaren sandwich right there with Cook and Matterford. One to watch, 3 different classes. Who will come out on top? We'll see. Maybe McLaren is definitely not too nerfed. I like to say that just because Peach will be like, rah, 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 rah.
Yes. But also just had a question chat as to who the commentators are. Well, I am Alexis Bowen, and then in the commentary box we have
I'm Daniel Scaluna.
Hello. And you actually said my last name correctly. If I had to tell up for everyone who said my last name incorrectly, I would be an absolute millionaire. And we're also joined by
Orbis.
Yeah, by Karen Thistlethwaite.
I'm also Alexis Bowen.
Haha.
There we go. On the you got the names, but which voices who's, you'll have to figure that one out. As we're going double file right now, and definitely want to see. Good to see Hobbsy back up there where he kind of belongs. You know, I love the AMG, but it's definitely probably not the sharpest tool, especially around here. Lamborghini seems to have had a little bit more of a boost, which, to be honest, I think the Lambo needed it. It was not treated very well by the LFM bop.
We are getting ready to launch. We'll just get the overlay out of the way, but we'll have co-start from Kale, Cooley, Hobbs, Herbert, Loz, Maddox, Def, Fleming, and Herod, and we are nearly ready to go. We've got 30 minutes coming up, 1 mandatory pit stop, and we are green. We are underway. Costa seems we've gotten off to a fairly good start, a little bit congested further back as we go through turn 1. Costa gets a moment, he goes wide, Kale goes through, the OES teammates switch positions. Meanwhile, Hobbsy has made a very, very good start from P5. He is already up to P3. Looks like the Aston Martin there of Loz getting involved a little bit as well. So far, it's been a very, very clean getaway for Split Yellow. Further back, we are seeing there's quite a bit of action going through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. But everyone's gotten through very, very cleanly. That's really well done. Meanwhile, we've got Herbert and Loz going side by side. Herbert gets up the inside. Can Loz get a little bit of a switchback? No, Herbert shuts the door. So Herbert up again into P5 after losing that position to Arno Loz on the start. Now, as we make our way into Vale Chicane, this could be a little bit of a pressure point for a lot of these drivers. Maybe a few incidents could occur. As we see, yes, there is a yellow flag that just briefly appeared for a moment, but has cleared. We're now looking at Atkinson there in P13 is behind. We have looks to be the 2 McLarens of Cook and Matterford going at it. Atkinson nearly runs off the track there. Has to be very, very careful as we see. Yes, there was an incident, and that is Jesse McLean, who has corn all the way to the back of the field.
Definitely well called, Alexis, on the start there. Action-packed, and to be honest, we've only had one car that's had to spin around. I'd say that's a success for Silverstone. Thankfully, not too much more than that. No safety cars, no virtuals so far, but yep, it's only one lap. Lap 2, start it all over again, and we'll see what comes up. As Herbert's definitely looking to be a little bit on the gearbox of the Aston Martin, definitely through the corner exits of the Porsche, reigning supreme for traction. And the even Gale, obviously first lap don't really count, but definitely benchmark put out on there. Excellent move to capitalise on the mistake from Jamie Kozo. Unfortunately, he had the sort of high entry for turn 1, a little bit compromised, but did have his own little moment as well, which he will.
Now, we'll say though, for the OES boys in the Ferraris, being 1 and 2 right now, a very dark, very broad contrast to what they were running with at the Circuit of the Americas, as we have Sasha Def looking very, very racy, looking to pick apart Loz around the outside, and nothing doing there, just not enough space, but still tucked up right underneath the spoiler, as she goes for a big move on the inside of Vale, and nothing. Yes, she gets it done, gets the power down, and she's up into 6th place. What a brilliant move.
Stunning move there by Sasha Def up the inside of that was set up all the way back at Stowe, getting around the outside, compromising the line there of Arno Loz, not allowing him to get any traction out of the corner, any acceleration, and up the inside of Val, gets it around the outside of the second part of the chicane, if you don't mind, and up into P6.
Absolutely. Lots of space given. That's what we like to see. Enough space given, but not too much that the other driver can get a good enough exit to come up alongside. Oh, as Maddox looks to be overtaken by Matthew Herod, but he's coming back. He's still got the inside line for the last corner. He's keeping his nose in it, compromising the Herod's line, and it's going to be side-by-side battle of the powers. Inline 6 twin turbo versus V8 twin turbo all the way down the start-finish straight, and we also have Fleming in the pit wipers. Porsche, let me have a sniff. Oh, he keeps his nose in there. Oh, I would have backed out, but thankfully Herod saw him coming and has kept enough speed around the outside to hopefully give him the inside line for this next corner, and he should have that door shut. He has done that. Well done. That could have been nasty.
That looks like it was going to end in tears.
Tell you what, those drivers are a lot braver than all of us will be, as just showing absolute bravado going through. I believe that was that Cops on turn 1?
Yes, going through Cops at turn 1, the infamous corner from oh dear.
Oh no, and
hold your brakes, reverse.
And Fleming.
Oh, don't do that, no!
Oh. It just seems like they can't do anything right here, as Maddox does make it away safely, and so does Fleming, but Fleming is going to have a bit of a steward's inquiry there, I believe.
There needs to be a massive penalty for that.
Oh, Scotty's had a half spin.
There needs to be a huge penalty for that. That was a very, very unsafe rejoin.
Absolutely, there'll be profanities, there'll be gestures, there'll be protests, absolutely. Not what we want to see, but hopefully everyone has escaped from that with not too much damage. Hobbsy looks to be a little bit under threat from Cooley, but hopefully he can bend off the straight line superiority of the Aston Martin. Is definitely one of its key strong points. As we have fastest lap currently by Jamie Koza. Oh, as Hobbsy is coming in, he's going to get his pit stop done. It is one mandatory stop for fuel, and the strat, to be honest, is to take 1 litre. The less fuel less time you spend refueling, aka the less fuel.
Don't you need to change tyres to cover the? Nope.
No, it's fuel only. Fuel only. So, fuel is based. The length of your pit stop is based on how much fuel you put in, and therefore you put the least amount in, enough to
tick the box to say that you've done it, aka to mark off the mandatory pit stop, and see his box has gone green, and away he goes. That would be sub 5 second stop for sure.
That is
wall
just
brush.
super close to the wall there, but no, that is a very, very good change to be making for these shorter races.
He's done a good job to come out and not too much traffic. Oh, we've got a car off to the right, number 81. That's we're not too sure who that is, but Eric Scarney again, unfortunately, up in the gravel traps, and hopefully he can get going again. We've got a driver.
Yeah.
Huge penalties going on right now as Manafort with a stop go 30, Maddox with a stop go 30, and Kumar with a drive through for, I'm guessing, earlier incidents in the race.
Or
So huge penalties.
Although they've also just come into the pits.
Yep, not seeing anything in the penalty bot right now.
So they could potentially just be for
SG30 will be for speeding for sure. Drive through, not too sure, unless you've gone
Track
4 limits already. 7
Yeah.
minutes, people, you see straight 30 minutes only, we can push it like we want, and next week you know you've gotten 3 in 1 lap. Even Kale out in the lead, brought another 10 on Koza, and is quietly looping away the fast lap as well, just to show off on being what a gumbag.
Anyways, can we extend the race? We've got rain in 30.
I noticed that too, and just thinking,
Ooh.
if this race was half an hour longer, it would be very, very spicy towards the end.
May not extend the race, but it's the sessions are going to be sequential, aren't they?
So it may impact the future sessions.
Second qualifying after this. The top 10, remember, this race will make up the top 10 of the grid for race 2, albeit flipped.
But yeah, no, it wouldn't be the UK if we didn't see any rain.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, known for its rain. I feel like they don't do rain to the extent that we do rain sometimes, and we get in Australia, we get biblical tropical rainstorms that will rain. They
5
just get,
seasons in 1 day.
they get drizzle, just constant drizzle.
Yeah,
If you go hard or go home.
They get the annoying rain where you can still do stuff in it, but it
You
just
don't want to.
lingers. Whereas the rain that we get just buckets down for about 2 minutes and then sunny day.
Yeah, I'd rather have that, as you watch your car float away down the street,
Yeah.
It's, I think that's more, that's just better. People in Japan will probably be disagreeing right now as their houses have gone down the street recently. Oh, and people up in North Queensland as well. Queensland, I think you just have a yearly cyclone, don't you? Or two, yeah.
No, we wish anyone who's been caught up in any of the natural disasters occurring in the world at the moment, we hope that they are all safe. Anyone who has any relatives or friends in those areas, we hope they are safe as well.
Absolutely, as we got the first of the front runnings, second of the front runners, as Hopsky has also done it first stop, but Herbert in the pit by the mid-side and coming to do a stop. It'll be on the splash and dash of 1 litre, I imagine, as well. That's what everyone will be doing. It's the most optimum strategy, I would hope. Old Herod in the bin chicken racing livery, chasing down the other Aston Martin of Loz. As Hobbsy now, let's see where Hobbsy comes out in relative to Herbert. I believe he was ahead before the stops, but we'll see if he's pulled even more of a gap. Oh, he's right there, so not so much, and that might even be a warning on the exit of turn 1. And disagree, BG36 in YouTube chat. No house in Townsville is ever safe, regardless of the weather.
Hobbsy only just came out clear of Regan Herbert, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when the rest of the front runners pit. Scarney's disqualified.
Gardy, what have you done?
Wait, what?
Scarney is disqualified.
He's gone.
Gonski.
That's a development I did not expect to see as, yeah, Toyota washed my car with brick.
The the emoji is fitting.
Is a very fitting sentiment for what Scani will be feeling right now as we jump to from the bottom end of the field to the front end with the two OES Ferraris still running first and second, as we see Herbert not lying down without a fight to take the fight to Mitch Hobbs possibly. And as we see, oh, was that Atkinson?
No, that was Keane.
Oh, that was Keane. That was a...
Atkinson is behind these two by a fair way.
Exit stage, left or right.
Oh,
camera.
speaking of Atkinson, there's a
Speaking of
penalty.
Atkinson, yeah, curse him.
Well done, Alexis.
I wasn't the one who brought up Atkinson first.
It was a joint effort. It was a joint effort as Atkinson has a 10-second penalty for causing a collision, which will be served after the race.
Oh no. Oh no.
Plus,
It gets
extra
even worse.
DLC.
Drive through.
A drive-through dangerous driving on lap 1. Oh dear. Unfortunately, that great qualifying is, you know, it doesn't really mean much when that happens. We're looking at Atkinson with a pretty sorry-looking front end, as he's got Carter right behind him. That will not be generating much front-end grip.
No, not at all. But that is a hefty old penalty for Atkinson to swallow there.
While we're throwing out penalties, I demand a penalty for Firelord Racing in chat. He was too keen there. Get in the bin. Get in the bin. That is just... Dad jokes are for Thursday nights, not here. Look, he's
Two
gonna
penalties
be...
for the Prices one as we see Riley Prices in the pits.
As we see, Atkinson's pace is just, I believe, that good that even when he does take the drive-through, he will be ahead of all the AM drivers, or maybe Stratford might give him a bit of a run there, because even though when he takes his drive-through, a lot of AM drivers still need to take their required pit stop.
And,
Yes,
Prices
Laminainen
picked up
might
a-
not...
Prices picked up a stop-go 30. Speaking of pits, oh dear.
Get from bad to worse, or keep
Didn't
it
it-
on the road, son. Keep it on the road.
That's Carter up the inside, up to P18, but has made the pit stop. We'll see what happens with the investigation into that potential incident, unsafe rejoin. Although that was Fleming.
Looks to me, Mr. Koza has now brought the gap down to 7/10 on Mr. Kale. Oh yes, Civil War brewing up nicely for the end of the race, halfway through. I'd love to see it, boys. This will definitely be with a gap this little, as Jacob Fleming gets a 15-second pen for causing a collision on lap 3, the one we saw, the no rejoin. That's definitely, yeah, well received, we'll say. Learn from it. Be better next time. We all make mistakes as long as we learn. As I was saying, with the battle for first and second, Kale and Connor were gapped this small. It is all gonna matter in the pits. How late you brake for your pit board. If you go past your pit board, if you have to be moved, if one of these drivers have to be moved, I dare say that's gonna switch them around. Obviously, if Mr. Coda gets moved, it doesn't really matter.
Just one little mistake from any of these drivers and that could be the race right there. There's a lot of pressure going towards a pit stop as we see none of them taking their pit stop just yet. We'll just have to wait one more lap as
The mental game.
the mental game begins, and as we see, even though they're kind of locked in a battle, they are still extending the gap to Cooley. It's now 3.7 seconds from Koza there, so they are definitely the class of the field. It's just going to all come down to pit strategy.
We were worried that it was going to be another Aston Martin runaway with the pace that Cooley was doing in the practice server and as well as the practice session before qualifying, but the Ferrari boys were right there, right on it, and yes,
definitely all to watch. As Mr. Jamie Crozer, he's been properly on the pace. Like, I don't know if that was one. He's purely levels of commitment to car. He does not drive anything else but the Ferrari. You can definitely say that's the case. Unfortunately, as we see in chat, Mr. Mike Crick is unfortunately disconnected from the race. The second stalwart GTR is gone. Oh no, sorry to hear that.
The good news is, though, he can reconnect and drive for the next race.
That is true. Another race to go.
That's it, and all those drivers who have had a bit of a misfortune in race 1 can back it up with a good result for race 2. They get a second chance, and that is only for these sorts of rounds that produce a bit of a... If you have one bad race, that's okay. We've got another race coming up.
Lightning can't strike twice.
Did no one practice the pit entries? This is the most stop-go 30s I have seen for a very, very long time.
Sprint races, you know what? Just brain dead drivers. Watch me get a stop go next week, tomorrow. Sorry, when I do this, unfortunately.
Brain dead commentators as well.
Brain dead commentators always right. Come on.
You're just tempting fate there, Cam. I can just see it.
Well, if anyone's gonna curse me, it might as well be me. Oh, that looks like it's gonna be.
It is not.
Oh no!
Like
That, surely not.
Right.
That was Action Stations sideways on the way in from Herod. Excellent
So my
show,
suspicions
sir.
have been confirmed. Because... Slummy!
There we go. That's how you do it. You get the car
Yeah,
stopped
fuck
before the
me.
line.
That's it.
Oh, Herod, if you don't get a penalty, then buy a lottery ticket, surely, after this race.
We'll keep an eye on it, but that looks a bit quick. And yeah, there it is, top go 30.
Oh, I'm lucky.
No lottery ticket. Oh,
There is
dear.
No
There is
lotto
a-
ticket for the big 200 million.
For tomorrow, yeah.
Guaranteed win, I heard.
Yeah. Could probably buy out the Newcastle Jets if you wanted to in the A-League. Please, they need an owner.
I'm sorry, you're talking about other sports. I don't... other sports exist?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
I just all motorsport.
Well, I might as well start talking about the Super Bowl if that's the case.
No. What you do is you buy out the racing entitlement contract from the supercars and give Brody Kostecki a new drive.
Yeah, don't make him drive the safety car.
Yeah.
Make like a one-man, one-car team for Brody Kostecki.
I don't know what's going on there at Erebus, but I'm available.
Yeah.
Need one.
Well, it seems Todd Hazelwood will be driving that number 99 entry for the first round of the season.
When you think about it, this actually is, if you think back to Matt Stone's, like driver pairings, I think it was like 2019 or 2020. They actually did have,
Oh
Todd
yeah,
Hazelwood
alternating
and Jack
between
LeBron.
Goddard and Kostecki, Jake Kostecki that was.
Yeah, no, they actually had Todd Hazelwood and Jack LeBrock in a team for 1 year.
Oh really?
Yeah.
All I know is that there was 3 Kosteckis on the race one time. I like supercars, but I don't follow it back closely. I know he's in the fence. They're both in the fence. They're all in the fence.
Yes.
If you find the fence here at Silverstone, good luck.
I'll tell you what, I was actually at that race back in 2010, and that was an insane race. That was a Saturday, I remember that.
How wet did you get?
Oh, I was actually undercover, but I was like just
You
watching the
still got
screens as everyone like just went straight into that right-hand barrier. Everyone, I was just like, what is going on?
Meanwhile, the 2 leaders out front are still in the lead. Ethan Cale still leading Jamie Koza. Now, seems like Ethan Cale has no excuse for speeding in the pit lane, as he showed everyone how to do it on Sunday.
Absolutely. Yes, Mr. Kale did the Monday excuse me, track guide of for Silverstone. Did an excellent job. Again, those track guides, to those of us who are a bit more experienced, who know the track, it might not be that useful, but it's invaluable to obviously those who are learning, and we do appreciate all the volunteers who make it possible. Speaking of those who make it possible, you have the OOR Patreon. Come join us on there. We got a Discord role for you, a Discord chat. You can get a Simrigs discount. Simrigs.com, the sponsor of this series. Get 5% off for all Patreon members. And if you are a Patreon member, that means you generally get an entry fee off a future events, such as the OOR Bathurst 12-hour qualifying this week, shootout next Friday, and race on the 10th. Come race, or come commentate, come join. Everyone, all is welcome. It's going to be a big event before the actual real life 12-hour on the 18th and 19th. I am frothing at the bit for those two events, virtual and real.
Bathurst 12-hour, when it rolls around each year, is always a spectacle.
So we have here, sorry to cut the bit of promotion we're doing, just get back to the race. Kale and Koza have still not made their pit stops, and the pit window is closing very, very soon, so they will have to come in for their mandatory stops
this lap.
Both of them. So this will just be, battle of who's not going to make.
What if Jamie rear ends him and gives Kale a speeding penalty? That'd be top content, wouldn't it?
Scott McLaughlin 2017.
I was gonna say that's happened to me in an endurance race. Not happy. We were with a receiving car. We got hit like the car behind as we took it easy. As we come in, 0.56 gap between them. What will be the gap at the end? What will be the order? Next 30 seconds, 40 seconds, we're gonna find out. Turn right, boys, and get into the pit lane. Get it stopped. Whee. And looks like they've both done an excellent job.
Yeah. And they left good gaps between themselves as well.
Oh, unlike.
Oh no! Overtake potential in the pit lane. That might have been actually really smart there by Death if she hasn't sped in the pits.
She hasn't sped. I think Cooley must have been quite conservative on the way in if Death was arriving with that speed. As we wait to see, let's see if who comes out. Definitely, it's gone to a 1 second gap on the entry, as both of them on the way. Line formation, still Kale ahead of Koza. Oh, right up to the fence, getting the best exit they possibly can.
Kale
who's gotten a stop go 30.
No!
You're
Kale!
joking.
The teacher has become the pupil. He has showed us how to do it, but didn't show himself. It will be absolutely apoplectic.
And just one fatal mistake has sent Kale from hero to zero pretty much. As that stop go 30 is going to be a massive monkey to get off his shoulder.
Don't be fooled by the time screen. Sasha Def is actually behind Herbert and Cooley. She was briefly ahead by 3 100s at the line, but unfortunately has gone back into 6th place as Hobbsy is now in 3rd, set for a net P2 and see if he can do anything about catching Jamie Koza. It is Koza's race to lose at this point, as Kale has lost it at this point.
And with that stop go 30, you know what that means? It means Aston Martin will be back on the podium once more. Cooley lofted to P3 if he can keep Herbert behind him.
Judging by I thought both of them was okay on the entry. Maybe Kale hit the button before he was over the line on the exit. You never know. Unfortunately, that'll be one to watch back on the replay. I'm sure he'll be looking to find out. Thankfully he has another race to rectify the issue. Unfortunately, a stop go 30 is gonna drop him probably out of the top 10, I'd say, at the very least. As he comes in, He's not happy. He was all out sideways on the exit of the second to last corner. He got it stopped this time, I hope. Yes, not a happy chappy behind the wheel. Yeah, I don't think anyone can, let's say, you know, I think we'd all be furious with ourselves if that happened to us.
Well, all I'm gonna say is that he's probably lost his role as a teacher.
That would be absolutely rough. As we see, I was saying Herbert might have a chance on Cooley here, but now Herbert has fallen into the clutches of Sasha Death here. This has now become a battle for P4, so a lofty position, especially from Sasha Death. I believe she started out in P6.
P8, I think.
She's a bit late on the brakes there. It's got a copyrighter line for the second corner. She had to take a little bit of the inside. It's always a bit 50-50 taking that inside little grass patch. Whether you get become the Ferrari space program or whether you take it compliantly, you know, it's always a bit of 50-50 depending on your car as well. Herbert, you have to remember, was probably the second. It was definitely the second of the top runners. Mitch Hobbs being the first to go. Granted, they didn't change tires, so you know, there's probably nothing to really gain or lose in that respect. But currently, you know, net P4 right now for Herbert. Hopefully, he can hold on to it ahead of Sasha Death. But you know, I want to see racing. We want to see racing. Let's let them have at it. As running through the rest of the grid, Arno Loz leading the silver class so far with a healthy lead over Brimblecombe, who is also leading the Pro-Am class in P7. There's a good showing from our silver and Pro-Am fields, a little bit better than last week when things classes weren't completely right. It was a little bit up and down. So Atkinson still currently P1 leading on track for his class in P19, but does have a 10-second penalty and only 5 100ths back to Stratford. So Stratford looking good for the AM win in this race currently.
Position we need to keep an eye on, that P10.
It says Stratford's right behind him, but I don't see Stratford anywhere.
We need to keep an eye on this P10 position, currently being held by Jacob Fleming. This is your reverse grid pole position.
Absolutely.
At this stage. Ethan Cale is in P13, and he's only a few seconds back from Fleming with another lap to go.
As well.
It's going to be an absolutely hello. Oh my god. Massive effort for Cale.
Herculean, I think is what you're
Herculean effort, that's the word I was looking for. To get a reverse grid pole for Cale there, as you can see him in the background.
Make some moves as soon as possible.
Oh, absolutely. There will be about 1.5 laps to go from this point.
This might be the last lap, actually.
This is, we'll see.
The leader
I have a
is
feeling
just entering
not going to get across the line in time. This is the last lap.
Yep. Yeah, 18 seconds. He's not going to the start finish.
Lots to keep an eye on, but Jamie Koza has just kept it smooth. He did have that little bit of a bubble on the start, but has since held on very strongly. So we keep an eye on the gaps. I think Fleming has it pretty much secured, although Cale is trying something. George Cook there in P11.
He's going up the inside.
Jones.
We went around the outside of Jones at the chicane, around the outside for the first part, and then had the inside line for the second part. Well done to Jamie Koza. He put it on pole, lost the lead, but kept it clean and kept it out of the penalty box. As Hobbsy and Cooley make up P2 and P3, followed by Herbert and Sasha Death for our top 5 pro runners. Arno Loz wins the silver top silver for this race. As soon as Brimblecombe, in the Pit Vipers Tiger King Ferrari, P7 for number 7. As I look back now, Mr. Carter, as sod that, we'll look to keep Ethan Cale and Jamie Cook going at it. Cale around the outside, can he have it? But Cook's late on the brakes, and they might have a switch around as well. Looks to be holding inside. You just gotta hug that inside. You can't do anything if you can't run around the outside. And Cook might have it, and also Cale's a little bit under threat from Jones, but I think he's got it covered as well. as it is a line formation, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and goodbye, Mr. Kale, as he sends it off exit stage. Right.
right.
Yeah, he's
And,
not happy.
Not happy, but thankfully he has one more race to make amends. Well done to Jay Fleming. He, he did have that questionable rejoin in the first part of the race, but
Redemption time.
as goes redemption time, he'll be the net P1 position for the reverse grid. Herod, I'm not sure what Herod. He got that stop go, didn't he, for speeding the pit lane after his
Yep.
Tokyo Drift entry. Yeah, number one that will be looking to get up to top the qualifying for the second race as well, to try and be on the outskirts of P10. I think we can imagine who's probably going to be the quickest for the next qualifying session. Douglas King comes along the line in P12, the number 12 car in Pro-Am. Been quite a field spread, I will say, between the top ends. Like, yes, I think I agree with Peach. I think I agree with Peach. I never thought I'd say that, but I think a lot of drivers may have forgotten it might be a mandatory stop and didn't practice for pit entries.
Not ideal, to say the least, but they now know, and hopefully we see far less stop go 30 in the next race.
I can confirm. Sorry, we're not live now. We are live. Professionals. Anyway, I can give a little bit of insight of Roger, Mr. Kale. And from what I can tell, he unfortunately hit the pit limiter while transiting, so he basically sped as he was in the pit lane. Not at the start, not at the end, but in the gap between.
Lucky, and that's just that one fatal mistake, and that will send you all the way down. It proved to be a massive mistake, sending him from P1 all the way down to P12, I believe, in the end.
Yep.
And he'll be able to, he should be able to get all that back in race 2, but as we start for qualifying, well, who's it going to be for, to make up? Is this for the remaining places on the grid?
Yes, this is for the remaining places on the grid. So this qualifying session will decide the order for P11 down.
Gotcha. So everyone from the top 10 is not running in this one.
That would be correct, yes.
Alright, so we are focusing on Douglas Keane here. So I guess just got to look from P11 to P20 really for who's going to be shot at pole. I mean, it's easy to say Ethan Kale, but
Eric's also one to watch.
Herod is also one to watch. There are a lot of fast drivers that did not get a good race one in. Fleming will also be... Actually, no, Fleming was the one that got reverse grid pole. Yeah, still a lot of fast drivers though. It's still wide open.
I mean, with that reverse group pole, but also John Carter, Mr. JC himself, on the set for net P2 on the grid as well in the other OES Ferrari. Definitely would be looking to try and get that leap off the line, ideally. Oh, Cricky, don't! Oh.
Cricky, you've already disconnected once. You don't need to be sent to the Shadow Realm again.
It's a GTR, not a Pajero. Do not put the wheels on the grass.
He's trying to turn it into a Pajero Sport.
Or a Nissan Juke.
Oh.
Did you mention that? Oh, that hellish car.
Car.
On this heavenly stream.
If I was on my hands and knees dying in the desert at that thing, like, want to lift? I'm like, nah.
Nah, I'm good, thanks.
Nah, I'm good.
Disgusting!
Disgusting. The only acceptable Juke was the one that they actually put a GTR engine in. And even that was...
there is no such thing as an acceptable Duke.
It was still the same shape, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Mr. Kale, let's say I think he'll be gripping his wheel a bit tight. I think for this next race, but yep, he's got another race to make it all. To damn limitation, championships are not built on one race, and definitely the misfortune will arrive for others, and all you gotta do is your very best on your race.
If there is any silver lining from this, at least he has made just his big mistake in one sprint race. So not in a you could say like a 1 hour race. It was at least in a 30-minute race.
Indeed. A few things to cover. Obviously, now new version of the game. Granted, it's on 1.9.7 currently. A few little changes. Thankfully, the 35 psi bug, rain bug, is gone. So, if it, what rain that we did see, maybe that was going to happen for race 1. And unfortunately, it looks like it hasn't materialized. But hopefully, maybe some rain dancing for the next race. We'll see what happens. But yeah, 35 psi bug. You can't just smooth brain it for raid sessions. You actually have to put mental arithmetic into it. Back again now.
Good.
Thankfully, in my opinion, it's a serious game. I want it to be serious.
Yes, and it should be serious, but unfortunately, sometimes Kunos likes to make things unserious. We look at all the laps starting to come in. Atkinson so far the fastest with a 59 flat. That is immediately beaten by Kale, and immediately beaten again by Matthew Herod.
Yeah, I would say it's these two that are going to be duking it out for position just outside the top 10 in P11 for this qualifying session. There's only 3 minutes to go. Yep. Most drivers have really only started their first flying laps, so really, in reality, they've maybe got 2 more laps ahead of this.
This is only an 8-minute qualifying session, unlike the 12-minute that we had for race 1. We're lacking 10 cars. We do not need the full grid. I will say it's pretty rough when you haven't gotten in the top 10 for the first race, and then you've had a very, let's say, for these, it's only 30 minutes, but let's say if you're battling the whole race, then you're gonna be very, very sweaty, and then you get thrown straight into another qualifying session. No room to breathe at all. As we saw, I think Hale went off track. Oh, that might have been Carter actually. Unfortunately, the same livery. Carter might have gone back to the pits to get a new set of tyres. Risky strategy. I found that I've never been able to do the best time on the first run. It always takes her about the second run, whether that's just driving or whether that's actually with the pressures and the temps. Not that technical, but I feel like second runs always goes better than first runs on the tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. You do need a few laps to get the tyres in the right window, in the right temps, in the right pressures. And as we can see, the second lap that Herod is running is almost a second up from his previous effort. We'll have to pay attention also to Kale and how he's improving as well, but this looks like is going to be a mid 57, which is already a brilliant lap there. There we go, 57.510. As we pay attention now to Kale, who's had an awful lap. He's had a spin, and he's going to have one more shot at getting pole. P11. You know what I mean.
P11 pole. Yep, it's a little bit of a moot team. Yes, I've got P1, but it's unfortunately it's still P11.
P1 plus 1.
P1 plus 1. Yep, the math.
P1 plus
Quick maths. But yep, all to do on this very last run for Kale. Probably a okay-ish first sector compared to his last. Definitely see what he can do. The mid sector is the moneymaker sector, I think, as with many tracks, but definitely here at Silverstone, carrying good speed through Stowe, but unfortunately hasn't found too much time on his delta. I reckon he's probably had a bit of a dud corner on his existing lap, because Mr. Kale is definitely better than a 58.6, we'll say. Oh, but that's not a good exit.
That car looks very loose.
Yeah, bit of a
I
wiggle
wonder if
out
he's
of
killed those
Bell there.
tires with the spin or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too as he heads through Abbey. And he's still matching his delta, but unfortunately though, that is not going to be enough if he wants to take pole or take P11. It's happened again.
Aaron's in the pit,
Yeah.
so he's not going any quicker. Crazy Atkinson for now,
Yeah,
and
and
Kale is
Kale's
aborted. Is
Atkinson,
P3.
the AM class driver, has out-qualified Ethan Kale.
Oh,
Actually,
he's not gonna like you. He's not gonna like it. But you know, P13 on the grid, definitely lots to still achieve from there.
Hashtag
Madford,
Atkinson pro.
Madford might actually bump Kale down now to P4.
No.
Oh no, he's decided to take the widest line through the last corner, which didn't help things.
Didn't have the margin anyways, needed about 4/10 of a second and only had about a 10th there. Cookie might be able to do something about it though if he does really well in this final sector. About 3/10 up at the moment, needs another 10th or so.
We've got a Bentley in front of him, the sole Bentley. Unfortunately, we haven't seen much of him. Hopefully, he doesn't hamper Cookie in too much way and gets his own lap done. Oh, Cookie, no, that's not good. That's also quite wide. But can he get the exit? No, he's hemorrhaging time. It's
He's
only
going to
be
move up to P5, but not much more, I don't think. Although not even P5.
No, P6.
Oh, Kumar out of nowhere, P2.
Oh,
Which is actually P12.
well done.
Well done. We just went watching Kuma there as he takes P2, and yeah, just a big mistake there from Cookie through Brooklyn's there, losing 2/10 of a second, and that was kind of just all she wrote for possibly around you could say a 6th row start.
Oh no, Kale has decided to, unfortunately, he just tried to qualify on his race tires. Oh, I'm sorry, Ethan, I'm revealing all your secrets. This is the problem when you hire a commentator.
He was trying to qualify on his race tires.
From what I understand, yes. It's a new race, it's a new dawn. A new set of boots, hopefully. Might be a race to forget.
There are nights where you just know it is not going well for you, and everything is against you. I have a feeling this might be one of those nights for Ethan Kale.
Exactly, Murphy's Law at its finest.
Sometimes the game's your enemy, sometimes yourself is the enemy, sometimes you gotta shake it off. Don't be fooled from the cars that you're seeing at the front, viewers. We will be manually sorting the grid, so once the timer hits go, the race director will call out the correct order, and they will line up I believe they'll line up just up the road, the reverse top 10, and then the rest of the field will follow suit. We might see a bit of a delayed green flag as to how Bruno's system works, as it'll read it only goes green. The green light sequence only starts once P1 has the net P1 has reached a certain threshold, which unfortunately will be back in P11.
Well, we have about 45 seconds to kill.
Warmer
Doesn't
server,
look like
warmer
rain.
race, 26 degrees.
Yeah, and still no rain.
Still no rain. Ooh. Kailami next week. Next week. Not next week. A couple of weeks away. Surely some rain at Kailami. It's South Africa. Surely.
Give us the sausage cam.
It was the sausage. Oh, the cheetah cam. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The South African space
Funny
program.
snag cam at Cheetah.
If your sausages are that, I can't say the word hard. No.
No.
Oh yeah,
yes.
that is.
I did
Wonderful name. Wonderful name.
I don't
It's,
speak binary. Sorry.
It's I7 XX to do 7 values.
Those are those cheater accounts that you get killed by in FES games, aren't they?
Yeah. Just slammed his head on the keyboard, and that's the result.
Co's a gimmick. Hopsy a little kick off the rear.
Ah, yes, as you do.
As they go to line up.
What is this? This is not. This is the opposite of a straight line. What are we doing here?
This is a line. I've seen worse. I will admit, I've seen a lot worse.
No.
I have seen much worse.
You have not seen worse.
I have. I've seen one of the cars just yeah, like that.
No.
That's what I've seen.
So normally we have prizes for splits that can actually do straight lines. Fun fact, no one can do straight lines. Can we have a punishment for that?
Race detention.
They have to write on the chalkboard. I will keep a straight line 50 times.
It must be easy these days for kids because they just have to type it out. They don't have to write on.
Yeah, they can just do copy paste.
Yeah, copy paste it.
No.
They have it so easy.
You just write it on a whiteboard. What's this chalkboard business?
I was gonna say, well, they don't even have whiteboards now. They have smart boards. Those things.
Yeah, well, no, most of the classrooms at my school last year still had.
Did you go to a poor school?
Public school, so yes.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I went to a public school. We had smart boards and whiteboards.
Yeah.
And then one substitute teacher came in and then used a marker on a smart board, and we all giggled.
Oh, and
let the mark, let's say. Anyway, race, commentating, Octane. That's where we are. Yes. Anyway,
Silverstone.
Distracted. Yes, Silverstone, stone and silver. No gold rock.
That's okay. We're just reliving our childhoods, and I think that's actually happened to almost every school. Like you have that real that teacher that's just used to whiteboards, and then they just see like this whiteboard's like slightly different, and just like, oh, that's weird. Grabs a marker, just goes to town. It's like,
Don't want to think about the noise. Don't think about the noise. I'm thinking about the noise.
What?
Yeah, what was that?
teleportation.
Creepypasta.
Pasta. So, it might not be Carter. Maybe it's yes, Stockton from Carter to Brimblecombe, Loz, Def, Herbert, Hewley, Hobbs, and Koza make up the top 10. As they all kind of jockey to find themselves out. Yep. So, Carter in P3. I was wrong before. Don't sue me.
You've been sued.
Hewley probably the strongest driver, the furthest up, I will say, in PA as they go double formation, double formation, twin lines, massive gaps.
Double file.
To the left. Double file, that's what I'm looking for. Double file, smart boards, the school chat from me. There's a bit of a gap. Fleming's got a good gap over Stockton. Need to bunch up more. Bunch up. Go on, boys. And hopefully no disasters as we wait for the 5 green lights. Waiting. Delayed start. Still waiting. Away we go. As Keeley. Fleming's got a good start. As Carter's looking at the inside of Stockton, but Brimblecombe has gone past him with a good run on the exit. As also Loz is looking to look up the inside of Carter. Hopefully there's no coming towards, and could have been if Loz held around the outside, but he's got the cut back and now got the inside for the second part. As Carter also holds it around the outside, 2x2x2, like the arc as they come through, but Fleming has absolutely galloped away.
Yeah.
As Loz gives Carter a little bit of a nibble. I dare say I might be hearing numbers called out for that one as they go 3 wide now into Stowe. Oh, there's going to be some rubbing, there's going to be some paint marks, as thankfully they don't ping off as Herbert holds it around the outside of Carter, coming into the chicane. Everyone getting stopped. No, Cooley's going for the absolute end, and it's Herbert's unfortunately gone round. It wasn't from Cooley, but in avoidance, and there's absolutely kerfuffle.
That's a safety car.
It is a traffic jam.
That's a safety car.
Traffic jam coming out of Vale there, and yep, everyone's slowed down. It is a safety car deployed.
That's a reverse grid race for yous.
Yep. It looked like Cooley was coming in steaming hot. Herbert left him space, but unfortunately when he was then kind of reverse pit maneuvered by the Ferrari of cars up ahead. Everyone, remember, you're not ghosted, please. No crashes on the safety car. Hopefully everyone is well behaved. Space out, slide out, you know, just get away from people in these situations. And we look to bunch the field back up again. Unfortunately for Fleming, his excellent massive gap, I think he probably had a 1 to 2 second gap, is now all for naught. Thankfully, Herbert is still in the race without too much damage as we look to get the field. Maybe we'll go ahead at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I'd say at the end of this lap, the field has bunched up again. Now, these drivers, as you said, do need to be careful. There is no ghosting, so please hold a consistent speed. Do not be accelerated and braking sporadically, because that is just going to end in tears.
Oh, this is making me very uncomfortable. Seeing them kind of like jockeying up, forward, back. Like, I'd be spacing out so much. I'd be like, get away.
Need to be leaving a good gap.
Fleming can go whenever he wants. If he is gonna go this lap, he can hold it as long as no, everyone's getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Just because the last corner doesn't mean everyone's gone. Maybe holding all the way to the line as he is entitled to do.
He's kept at a consistent speed. He's been doing the right thing.
And he's gone. Porsche leaps away off the line and gets a good few car lengths over Brimblecombe. Goes into turn 1, or you know, the Pit Viper brothers. You know, talk about the team battle that we have for the race 1. It's technically also for race 2 between the Pit Viper team of Brimblecombe and Fleming. Not seeing too many yellow dots, but I am seeing 4 wide. God no.
4 wide. My goodness me, how they made it through maggots. 4 wide there is just incredible. As we see, we have
they were 3 wide again.
Oh my goodness. Sasha Def and Herbert all the way back down in T17 and P18, looking to get
here comes the GTR.
Here comes the GTR around the outside of Death. Just can't seem to hold it, but that was a mighty run that the GTR has, and it's still going now.
Go on, son.
Into Brooklyn's.
Make sure you brake in time. Ooh. Looks like everyone's done a good job. Everyone's got it stopped. No one's flipped each other around. Well done. Good to like to see it. Oh yes. Herbert and Def down this far of the grid. I'd love to see.
Oh
no!
Oh, what he's doing?
Crash. Oh my goodness.
Oh, there was 2 cars that were already had a moment up the grid.
Is that another safety car?
Oh, I believe so.
Sure.
I think they're all
That is the first time for a long time we've had 2 safety cars in one race.
I was dare say it was a black and white McLaren. We're not too certain who it was. I think it may have been Cook. Yep, he has gone back to garage, and I think it is Def.
We need to see that, because if that was an unsafe rejoin.
There was 2 cars definitely, like I'd already had a moment. There was 2 cars, 1 off track, 1 on track, and unfortunately Cookie was on track and everyone was already spaced out fighting. They would have been unsighted, but we will fetch up the replay machine. Hopefully it doesn't blow up.
That was a huge incident, and if we can get a replay going, then wow, that is going to be a huge. It'll tell some of the tale here. If we get a replay.
Safety cars breed safety cars. Copy that.
Like we are going a bit longer on this safety car, which is to be expected. Oh no, we're going.
We're gone.
We are racing, and as we have
oh dear.
Kale, please. It's already gone wrong.
It's just getting through.
Oh, it looks like Cricky's at a moment. Number 87, the yellow flag is off the road at turn 1. Hopefully they can get going again. Everyone, calm down, please. This has been a little bit too much.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
just a bit.
to be honest, that second restart, it was going well until unfortunately we had 2 cars. Unfortunately, it looked like they had a tangle and were facing backwards on the Hamilton straight. You know, unfortunately, it only takes the little things to unfold. Yep, we'll definitely be looking back. Oh my goodness, get it stopped, please. As Stockton is very deep on the brakes in the pen right Ferrari. As Brimacombe is giving Fleming no quarter given, and definitely smells a potential race win for the Pro-Am driver.
And that would be huge for the Pro-Am driver, as the Pro-Am driver does get a better run through through Copsol Turn 1, and through Abbey. I'll get it eventually, as the Pro-Am driver definitely giving the Silver driver something to think about.
One to watch. Mr. Herod wasn't even in the top 10 from the last race, and therefore had to qualify outside of it. Already into P5 as Brimacombe. You're not stopping that. Get a parachute, get an anchor. You're not stopping. As that is
oh
way
my god, look at the gaggle behind.
Oh, as Loz and Herod are now battling, and it looks like they've gotten ahead of Stockton. It's whoever can get first. As Brimacombe is gonna get his pit stop done right away.
Not a bad idea. He's probably locked the brakes and done those tires very badly, but there'll be a lot of drivers in the pits because they'll be wanting to get out of all this.
Yep, Hewley, looks like Carter as well, as Sasha Def, we can see, is already done, but she's going to be a lap down already, unfortunately.
As we're taking a look at the replay of
I think, to be fair, Cookie was trying to either hit the brakes and the car would have spun on the grass anyway. He was trying to keep it in a straight line, and unfortunately, if you're going to hit the brakes while you're going to try and correct, the car's going to spin anyway. It's quite unfortunate. I think Cook left Price enough space at the start of that, to be honest. And I think, yeah, it'll be stern words afterwards by the stewards. Busy for the stewards, let's say. But that's then. This is now. Almost half the grid has already done their stops, with Mr. Brimacombe leading the stopped runners. I'm surprised no one stopped on the first lap, because they would have gained massively from the safety cars that they did. Might be one strategy to watch for the later splits.
I don't think they're allowed to take their stops on the safety car.
Damn, I was going to do that. Well, good to know.
And pit window.
No, but if the safety car, it wasn't called on the first lap, it was called on the second lap, wasn't it?
There are multiple safety cars, but yeah, pit window opened towards the end of the second safety car, but even then you are not allowed to serve your mandatory stop.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about the window. Don't listen to me. I'm not a strategist, as it turns out.
So we can can see for one of the Porsches that have made their mandatory stop, Herbert has now a stop go 30 for, I presume, a pit lane speeding infringement. So again, just some drivers not learning their mistakes from race one. There was just so many penalties. I have not seen that many stop go penalties for pit stop infringements in a long time for OOR sprints.
Can't say that they haven't raced at this track before. It's arguably a staple of the default game. You know, Monza, Spa, Silverstone. I think it's like a trifecta of races that we've all raced at multiple times. Yeah, I think definitely lots to learn for a lot of people, and you know, pushing all the way up to that speeding line, that's the pit limit line. What you gain there, it's insurmountable to what you lose if you get it wrong, and yeah, lots will have found that out tonight, as Herod is still all over Mr. Loz. So he's sending it up the inside. No, he kept it. Didn't commit, frankly. Got to go for a certain move. No half measures. That's when accidents happen. But one to watch, as yeah, Mr. Fleming only just there up the grade. You can see the victory if he wants it. It's right there, right for the pickings.
Right for the taking there for Fleming, that's for sure. But does need to serve his mandatory pit stop. Currently, the driver leading the way of the drivers who stopped is Brimblecombe, but he has Koza right behind. Koza looking for the double.
Yeah, I wonder when that's happened. Like, have we run this format before, where we've had
Yes.
a top 10 reverse grid?
Yes,
And
we have. It has been run in.
I don't think we've run it for
previous.
a while. Like, it's been definitely not last season, definitely not the season before. Or
It
even
has
the
been a
season
little
before
while.
that.
Because there were a few changes to the Sprint Series format that meant that, yeah, the racing was a little bit different. But no, this has been brought back. There are
Tried
a
to
few
do it
changes,
in
so
tracks that are not too tight and too, you know, chaotic, let's say. But unfortunately, that doesn't stop people.
basically not Zandvoort.
Not Zandvoort, not Zolder, not Kyalami, Bathurst, you know, tick them off as you want to go through. Herbert with an SG30, I don't know if we've mentioned it already, that's
Yeah, we have. He'll
Nipwa.
be into the pits imminently.
Is that the second, that he got one in the first race, isn't he?
No.
No, I'm wrong.
I don't think he did, because he was still towards
He was the E4, yeah.
Yeah. And there we go, now he is in the pits.
Oh, good. So yeah, interesting to see how far the top runners will go before doing their pit stop. Whether, you know, they've got the clear air as well as the people in the, you know, arguably the people who've done their stops and that may or may not have the clear air. It looks to be, yeah, Brimacombe going down the straight before, so now he's only got Mike Crick up ahead of him in the immediate vicinity, but he has also got Jamie Koza all over him as well. So, yeah.
He has defended well against pro drivers in the past. Brimacombe is very solid in his own right, so we'll see what he can do. As Koza nearly spins out. Oh, that is a really good save, but nearly disastrous for Jamie Koza.
This is just going to bring Chris Cooley in to this battle now, as Brimacombe just got a little bit of breathing room now, just to focus and hunker down in his driving, and maybe jump Fleming in that still has to make his pit stop.
That was a whopper of a rear lock that he had, whether he put it a little bit on the grass, but I don't see Jamie Koza doing mistakes like that very often. Normally very much in control of his car. Yeah, definitely he knows that he's got to get past Brimblecombe if he wants any chance of a win, because, you know, it's going to be only stop between him and the leaders. As Herod is now in as well. Definitely one to watch. Definitely the most gained on the first three open laps. You know, as I said, he qualified outside the top 10 and he was already into P5 as we got going again. Best lap for Sasha Def as well, like, you know, all to play for. So many fast people, unfortunately Def, namesake, unfortunately, for her in these early parts of the race.
There's been a few calamitous moments, which includes the likes of, Ethan Kelly has recovered pretty well now up in the P15, but still not quite the position he'd want to be in. But at the moment, we'll just see what gaps and everything are. Comes under a fair bit of pressure there from Koza, as we see Brimcombe is still the lead driver who has come into the pits.
And I will say that was that pit stop was important for Herod because it gives us a rough guide of how much of a gap that Fleming and Loz has.
Koza's gone up.
As we see, Koza had a big moment there. And now
Tried to go around the outside.
I wonder if he got squeezed a bit.
No,
absolutely.
It was just a move that wasn't really on. Brimblecombe defended well, and yeah, Koza never really was going to get enough of an overlap to be able to cut across Brimblecombe to take the inside for the next part of the chicane.
As we see Koza making the same mistake twice in sequential laps, and 2 laps in a row, and it's just brought Cooley closer and closer and closer to Koza. No pun intended. But
I think the pun was intended there a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. But as I was saying before, that pit stop for Herod was very important to give us a guide of the gap that Fleming might have to potentially Brimblecombe and Koza when he does make his eventual pit stop. It will give us a little bit of a guide on how far he will come out ahead or maybe behind.
At this stage, it looks like he may be about a second clear, but we'll see how that all shapes up. I think the real telling factor will be when, well, we got 6 minutes until the pit window closes anyway, so they'll be in sooner rather than later. But right now, Brimblecombe is holding on really, really well.
Absolutely. We got just over 11 minutes of this race left for split yellow. Don't go anywhere after it. We will have split green. Is it green? Yep, split green for straight after this. Going pretty much straight into their qualification right at the end. Be interested to see how they fare. The content maker that is the 2 30-minute races, we'll say. It's been nothing, non-stop action so far throughout this whole race.
Well, if you wanted chaos, chat, then you are getting chaos right now. As we see Taplin, I believe that is one of the GTRs, the Nissan GTRs, with a 10-second penalty, unfortunately, for causing a collision. Unfortunate there for the silver class driver, and a big drive through for Cookie for an unsafe rejoin on lap 6, which I'm guessing is for the safety car. Lap 6, wait.
Lap 6 is a lot later than when the safety car actually happened.
Later, yeah.
Something else, yeah, might have to
We'll
look
have to
into
see
that.
what's going on. And Cooley there with a 15-second penalty for causing a collision. I did see that at the back. I believe it was on.
That was on Death, I think.
Yeah, it was on Death or one of the Porsches. I cannot remember.
It was
a 3 wide moment.
It was with Herbert, yeah. It was the Herbert Porsche. That's why he's got sent back.
It was. Well, Herbert also had the stop go 30.
No, but it happened at the start as well, because Herbert and Carter were going in and then into the chicane, and then unfortunately Cooley got a bit late, and then basically Herbert had to go into Carter to avoid a collision with Cooley.
That's it, and they pretty much almost went 4 wide going into Vale, I believe.
Now, Fleming has now pit and has come out behind all of these drivers. So Brimblecombe has done the undercut beautifully and is now in the net race lead.
Gonna find out what Brimblecombe is made of. He's got more than enough fast drivers behind him, and yes, gonna be a test of his mettle all the way to the end. It's gonna be a very long 9 minutes when you're in that position. Do not envy him. Very glad to just be watching.
Just to be watching from the sidelines, but I will say, whatever the result, first or second or even third, just to see a Pro-Am up in the battling for the win is just incredible stuff from stuff from the Canadian. And yeah, Koza just has to be patient here. Koza is, of course, faster, being in the like 2 classes above, but still, Koza just has to be patient. Just has to pick his moment, and when he finds the right spot, then just grab it with both hands. Not do these half-hearted attempts.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial to find the opportune moment and to take it with both hands grasping at it. You can't just take, oh yeah, just this little opportunity here or there. You have to really go for it, because Brimblecombe has experience defending against drivers like this. He has the pace to go with these drivers when he needs it. And right now, he is showing just that, and is now up into the 2nd place. And once Kumar pits, he will be in the race lead.
Definitely, Kumar will be boxing at the end of this lap. I'm pretty certain of that. So yeah,
Yes.
Brimblecombe, yeah, definitely all to Hurch. Like, yeah, what Koza can do to maybe possibly distract Brimblecombe. Got to be kind of in the mirrors, left, right, kind of. Got to have that little small distractions, but it's definitely not easy to try and overtake a car that is the same car as the one you're driving. You don't have the disparity of where the car is quick and where it's not. That's yeah. As unfortunately, Mr. Hovsey has received a 10-second penalty for a collision on lap 1 as well, but we didn't catch that.
There were a lot of incidents that happened at the start,
Yeah.
which include a lot of high caliber drivers.
Yeah, that's it. Speaking of high caliber drives right now, Brimblecombe, I've just been paying attention to his pace the last few laps. He's in.
Oh,
he's
that's
in the
wide.
middle.
That's very wide.
Oh,
what
I
a
was just
save.
I was just talking at Brimblecombe, and he is doing 1 minute 58, so not too far off the fast pro drivers here. As Koza just
You have to
having
cover
just
Cooley.
a little bit of a look there, but Cooley still has that 15-second penalty, which will be served after the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course, with the mandatory pit stop already taken, there's no point in coming to the pits to serve it when you can just have it added on to the end of the race.
And kind of be counting his lucky stars as Brimblecombe, because for a car to straddle that, you know, wheels on the grass and a low slung mid-engine car like the Ferrari, I've been flung off in bigger cars, that's for sure. Like it's, oh yeah, very very lucky to not catch it too badly, and did a great job saving it. Kudos to him.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Koza wasn't there to really capitalize. He was a bit too far back, and that was his opportunity.
Well, with just under 6 minutes to go, I'm going to throw this to chat. Do you guys think that Brimblecombe will somehow be able to fend off the fast-charging Koza?
Yeah, he's closer than ever, Koza. This is going to be very, very tight as we go into
Yuli as well.
What is Stowe corner. But Brimblecombe holds on very, very well. And Koza is actually a bit wide. Huey might have an opportunity. Did have to dab on the brakes a little bit. So Koza having to defend a little. Will just compromise his line of touch. Brimblecombe will be enjoying seeing that in his mirrors. Especially after that mistake he made on the last lap.
It's really taking a lot of heat off Brimblecombe that Cooley is also attacking Koza, so Koza has to look forward and look backwards at the same time. Pit windows closed, everyone's served on it, that's okay. Oh, they're using every bit of track that they possibly can. This is going to be a fight all the way to the end, to the bitter end. There might be upsets, there might be a new winner, we shall see.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cooley is doing an absolute solid for Brimblecombe here, as Koza is most definitely getting slowed up by Cooley's efforts. I'm guessing Cooley is just trying to get ahead of Koza and then try and get ahead of Brimblecombe just to eke out that 15-second penalty as much as he possibly can.
Yeah, well, at the moment he'll be dropping down out of the top 10, really. Like, with Hobbs' penalty, yeah, even then with Hobbs' penalty, he'd still drop behind Mitch Hobbs.
I think they'll be dropping behind at least Carter in P8, to say the least. Might be stay ahead of Stockton in P12.
Yeah, he'll be ahead of Stockton, but further back he's going to be about P11, I'd say, at this rate. If the race were to stop now, as Atkinson also picks up Another penalty, this time a 15-second penalty for causing a collision. Koza is close again, but we'll see what Brimblecombe can do. Brimblecombe seems to have a lot of pace on the straight, so may just be running a little bit less wing than what Koza is, which is helping him in this scenario.
Race control bot's getting exercise today. Unfortunately, with lots of all the penalties coming in, as another one comes in for Ben Walker, I think in the 77 BMW, 10 seconds. Stewards, thank you for all you do. They've had to probably scroll through the entire first half of this race, and they might still be scrolling at this point. But thank you for everyone who makes these races possible on their own free time.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the background doing a lot of fantastic work volunteering their time, so we thank every single one of them. It has not been easy tonight, and there's still a bit more to go, so hopefully the ones that are coming up to help out with the operation of Split Green have a little bit of an easy time than the stewards for Split Yellow.
It must be so frustrating that Kale just
Yeah,
can't, his car is your car. It's gonna be fast in all the same parts for the most part, and unfortunately he has to cover off Cooley every now and again. So it's just compromising. It's Brimblecombe as well as doing an excellent job. We've only seen really one mistake from him, but it's saving Brimblecombe, taking the edge off Koza a little bit. Is Chris Cooley.
2 laps to go. Brimblecombe will have enough time to do 2 laps. He's got to hold on for 2 laps. And Koza is wide. He can't be doing that too often.
Yeah, I just saw they just passed the start-finish line there with just over 2 minutes to go. So it's going to take a mighty effort for Brimblecombe to hold.
There was a small offset by Brimblecombe.
But Koza went off a little bit as well, so that will compromise his run. They're both compromised. Here comes Cooley. What's going to happen here as we run into Stowe? Cooley trying to get up the inside of Koza. What's going to happen here? They're going to break as late as they possibly can. Cooley up the inside, gets a little bit loose. Now Koza will have the inside line as they run into the Vale chicane. Koza up the inside of Cooley. Can he hold on? Can Cooley get the run? That turns into the inside line
Jamie
now.
Jamie him too much space.
And
definitely going to have the run.
Has it. And I think that will just about do it for Brimblecombe. He just needs to take it to the end from here. He has, what, about a second and a bit gap now.
Oh my goodness, we could be having a huge upset for this race, as Brimblecombe now has a huge gap and a car in between himself and Koza. And plus, just remember, Cooley is not part of this fight. He will still have to take a 15-second time penalty. So Brimblecombe, just keep it on the road, son, and you will be a winner.
What a potential result we have here. Brimblecombe will have 1 more lap to run. Chris Cooley behind has 15 seconds worth of penalties and is 1.2 seconds behind Sean Brimblecombe in the number 7 Ferrari. The Pit Viper Racing car, the Tiger King entry, is entering its final lap, and if he keeps it clean,
palms will be sweaty.
Pro-Am overall winner.
Definitely it will be sweaty palms from Mr. Brimblecombe. He's got one hand on that trophy. It only takes another hand to seal it, but it's also going to take another 5 kilometers, and you'll have to, don't look behind you, ignore the camera behind you. It's, it's all on Mr. Brimblecombe. He's done the hard yards. Now the little last leg. As we look through the field, Carter and Matterford and Kale all fighting for that P8 as well. It's the whole field is still pretty much all bunched up. It's great racing throughout. Not been some great racing in some parts, but overall I think there's been a great showing here at Silverstone from Split Yellow. Can't wait to watch the other splits as well and see how they get on.
Half the lap done. Brimblecombe is doing exactly what he needs to. He's just keeping it clean, keeping it within the limits, not taking any unnecessary risks. Yeah, you can see that he's just backed off a little bit. He knows that Cooley has the 15-second penalty. He knows that Koza is now too far behind to really challenge anything. Oh, and Ethan Kale's picked up a drive-through for track limits.
Our car stopped on the straight just ahead of the leaders. Hopefully he stays out of the way. Pete, car 12, stay away.
Fuel. Run out of fuel.
I think he stopped to just let them all go. He wants no part of it, car 12. Thankfully, it's the case. As Brimacombe comes into the last complex now. One more corner, one real corner to do it. Bring it home.
He's gonna bring it home, and Brimblecombe, despite all the odds stacked against him, Koza tried to take it away from him. Cooley tried to take it away from him. He's not gonna do it, and Brimblecombe will get, I believe, his first win in the Simrigs Sprint Series. Absolutely amazing race for the Canadian, and what a win for the Pro-Am driver. Let me remind you guys, Pro-Am driver, and Cooley just goes straight to
finds the magic hole in Silverstone.
Goes straight to Nadia there, but what an absolutely amazing performance there from Brimblecombe there. Just Herculean effort to
nerves of steel.
To absolutely hold off those pro drivers for a good part of 20 minutes of the race, just to hold them off. Words can't describe how shocked I am of this result. This is absolute insanity.
Fantastic stuff from Brimblecombe. The Pro-Am winner. I haven't seen that since 2015 at the Bathurst Real 24 Hours. Katsusuma Chiyo took the lead and the race win. Excellent stuff, as Cooley will plummet down the grid with his 15-second pen. So it will be, I believe, Koza and Herod who make out the podium spots. Here comes Herbert with a very sorry-looking Porsche to round up the last, second to last runner, as we also have one more in terms of Bishop. Jared Batterford gets a 10-second penalty for car 10 for another collision on lap 1. We're still going through, still combing through the archives. Definitely lots to learn, lots to watch from this second race.
Wow, what a race. Now we'll need to be very, very quick on our run through of the order, as we need to get through to split green as soon as we possibly can. So we'll quickly run through the order for you from your second race. It is Brimblecombe who has taken the win from Koza, and Herod, Fleming and Loz rounds out your top 5. In your silver class, you had Fleming lead the way from Loz and Carter. Then in the Pro-Am class, we have Brimblecombe, Kumar and Stockton. Before your Am class, Stratford, Crick and Atkinson.
Excellent stuff, well done. As we'll go to a break now, and we rejoined in a few minutes by the split green commentators. Thank you.
And welcome back, everybody. This is Split Green, and as you can see, we are rounding the final corner. The cars are in formation for the start of race 1. This is a super sprint round. We will give you some more information on the grid at the moment as soon as we get it. We just had a bit of technical difficulties, but we are about to go racing very soon. You can see near the front of the grid there, we see it looks like a Ferrari and a Porsche, maybe Brad Cook and Benjamin Hignett on the front row, and we should be going green any time now. It looks like a Bentley and another Ferrari on the second row. We are going, we're focusing towards the rear of the grid here on car number 29 in the Porsche as they go around T1. Can't see exactly what is happening at the front, but I don't see too much chaos at the moment as they come into Maggots and Beckett's for the very first time. Side by side, quite a few. There's a car this back there. I think somebody started from pit lane perhaps. So far it looks fairly clean as they come through Maggots and Beckett's and on to the hangar straight down towards Stowe. This is where you can sometimes get a couple of incidents as people get good runs out of Maggots and Beckett's. At the front it looks like Rahmat is going side by side there with a pink Ferrari. And that may have been outside the limits for the Ferrari. That is Hignett in the pink one there, and they are breaking down into Vale chicane for the very first time. Hignett gets ahead of the Bentley, and we have a HUD. So we have Brad Cook and Luca Giacomin, the two lead cars at the moment. Benjamin Hignett, Fadli Rahmat, Ray Smith, Jacob Weatherburn, Jake Steele, David Barker, Christopher Taylor, and Graham Hill, your top 10 at the moment. It seems as though it was a clean first lap up until they got to Abbey, and there's all kinds of chaos breaking out at the back there. It looks like about 4 or 5 cars involved in that big old accident there. And as we start to calm down a little bit, my name is JP Sonicus, and I'm joined in the box by none other than Luke Johnson and Connor Hind. How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah, good Peach, good Peach. How are we? That was actually quite a clean start there by Green, which is good, apart from the little bit of shenanigans at the back.
Yep.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Peach, great job there, mate. Limited information, but yeah, as they've said, clean start. I was expecting a bit more chaos, to be honest. For those tuning in for the split beforehand, we had plenty of action on track, and looking forward to 30-minute races across the night.
As you said, we had a fair amount of content in the previous split there, and of course it is a reverse grid top 10 for the second round, so we may yet still see quite a bit of action come the second race. But before that happens, we still have 28 minutes of racing here. Fadli Rahmat with a big moment there in the big old beautiful boat. It's so good to see it back on track. It's so good to see it near the pointy end of the field, and he is an incredibly fast driver. He missed last week, but he's back this week and he's already near the pointy end and challenging some of the more favorable cars. But we do have Brad Cook leading again. He won last week fairly comfortably, and he's looking very strong again this week. Luca Giacomin had a bit of a round to forget last week, so he'll be hoping for something a bit better. Then your endurance teammate Benjamin Hignett, he's doing very well so far this season as well. Who do you call for the win in this race, Mr. Connor?
Oh, well, I don't know. If Brad was hard to go past last week, but again, the Porsche isn't as strong here as it is at Coda. Jack Homan as well, and it's tough. I'll go with Jack Homan tonight, I reckon.
Not sure how Brad's mum will feel about that, but we'll see how the rest of the race goes. Of course, for those unfamiliar, you will see a little orange sign next to the drivers' names on the leaderboard with a 1 in it. That is their one mandatory pit stop that they have to do. So this is the first time in these super sprint rounds. It looks like a big old accident there going through, what would that be? Abbey, somewhere around there. Unaware. Oh, yep, okay. That is a big accident. Whoa.
That is
A lot of cars
huge.
going
Whoa.
backwards there. There's Julian Gray in the Honda. He's sliding backwards. What is going on?
Okay, well, there's a car parked there. You can't park there, sir. And as we see, Damiano Thurgilini here, apparently in his last 2 races at Silverstone, he's run out of fuel. So he'll be hoping for a better showing this time around. We're not sure if we're going to be able to have a replay due to the technical difficulties, but hopefully we can get one, because that seemed like quite the incident, I would say.
You're not wrong there.
Yeah, there was lots of cars spewed out all over the track. Yeah, and it's kind of gapped the field a little bit towards the mid-pack and the back with that massive big kind of snake train at the front there.
Yeah, I think that sort of split is... was that from the first incident or from the second incident? You know, it's so easy for a couple of cars to fall off the back of the lead train, and then you're unlikely to catch back up again. But at the pointy end, Luca Giacomin keeping Cook honest, Hignett keeping Giacomin honest. And Rahmat still in P4, Ray Smith in P5. Not sure if the stream can hear us at the moment, but I shall continue speaking. As we can see, quite a few Ferraris in the top 10 there, and the pit window just opened, so the drivers can come in for their first pit stops, or their only pit stops. They only have to do one, and this time there's no mandatory tire change, so a pit stop can be as short as about 1 second. They just put 1 liter of fuel in, so it makes it very challenging to get your pit stop just right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the what we saw in the last split was quite a few drivers who had missed the speed marker there on their pit entries and having to serve a lovely stop-go 30, which is absolutely race ruining, considering how short the pit stops are and how tight the fields are at the moment. So hopefully most of the drivers have practiced their pit stops, because it will absolutely make or break one's race tonight.
This is one of the trickier pit entries, I would say, especially judging your braking marker correctly. Very, very tricky to get it right. And you're braking while turning, and then the brake board is, or the pit entry line is just after the blind corner. So very tricky to judge it. But we see there Stefano Ricciuti. He is the first man to dive into pit lane. Last week we had the same discussion about strategy. In a type of race like this, you only have 30 minutes of driving, you have 1 pit stop to do, and you don't need to change your tires. When are you going into pits?
Ricciuti pulling the Ricciuti strat. We saw a couple of seasons ago Ricciuti pull a very early pit stop, and it handed him the win after a late safety car. Maybe he is again banking on potentially a bit of chaos ensuing. We saw in the last split there were multiple safety cars across the races, so it can definitely happen. But I think ultimately he's just hoping for a bit of clean air, come out and just try and do a few hot laps, and then work his way up the field.
Yeah, he'll be in some nice clean air. Connor Hines saying the Porsche is not as strong at Silverstone, and Brad Cook saying watch this, and he is pulling a gap on Giacomin at the moment at the front, has the fastest lap, and Giacomin just has nothing to answer at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if he tries a strategy. Because you're not changing tires, the undercut isn't really a thing here. You don't get a benefit on that.
No, not at all. But yeah, Brad Cook showing us the goods. He did win last week, won the round, and we're very confident to see his confidence. That Silverstone was a little bit rough on the rear tires of that Porsche, but looks like he's definitely got it reined in at the moment, and is definitely starting to gap Giacomin.
Yeah, Hignett's still there, sticking with Giacomin, although he's dropped back a little bit now, slowly perhaps falling into the clutches of Rahmat there in the less favorable Bentley, but it's such a beautiful car and it makes such a fantastic noise as well. So you always love seeing it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who of these is going to make the first decision to dive into pit lane. first penalty coming through there for car 43. So the stewards have started handing out the penalties, and for those watching for the first time, OR does have a live stewards. There we see car 911 also get a 10-second penalty, and David Barker also there with a 15-second penalty for car 13. As usual, there's a penalty next to his name. And at the front of the field, it looks like nobody has decided to dive into pit lane yet. Hignett very close to Jacoman. Jacoman with a big moment coming out of Vale there. And oh, he gets pushed off the track there by Hignett. Not a lot of space there to go side by side. And now they're coming down into Abbey. A little bit of a touch there on the
back into it.
Oh, and he goes wide there, side by side. Here comes Rahmat. Will he be able to make it free wide? Coming into the loop. No, not quite yet. But Hignett is past Jacoman. Can Rahmat still fight back? That Bentley does have very good straight line speed. Jacoman giving him no space at all. Let's see what the Bentley is able to do coming down the straight here. Looks like he is closing already. He's closing in. He's closing in. He does have the speed. Will he be able to be later on the brakes? Then the Ferrari coming in to Brooklands and Luffield. Oh, it's up the inside. There's a little bit of a touch again. Jacoman keeps it there. Will he be able to hold the position?
Look at that Bentley stomp around the outside.
Oh, the speed of that Bentley is insane. And he's got the move done. Well done.
Jer Coman in the background having a slide. I just want to let the viewers know I've never seen Hignett and Jer Coman together on the track at one time.
Yeah, it's their first time racing together. There's no history to speak of. But yeah, that was not a good lap for Luca Giacomin there.
No, definitely not. He'll be a bit upset that he's lost 2 positions in a sector, so he'll be definitely looking to try and put his head down and try and regain those positions. As we see Smith taking a bit of an advantage out of all of that, jumping back onto this top 4, now 5 train as they come down into the second sector. We see Giacomin very, very deep onto the brakes. That is very scary, seeing a car approach your rear like that as fast as he was there, but he's got it under control and he's going to tie it back into line. But we see yep.
I was just going to say, it'll be interesting to see now that Hignett has got past Jer Coman if he can pull Cook in from the front, especially with the kind of weird little tyre window the Porsche goes through where it kind of drops for a few minutes after about a 15-minute stint. So be interesting to see there if you can rein that gap in.
Yeah, and that's of course tricky with this pit stop where you're not changing tyres. When you're stationary in pit lane or going slowly in pit lane, the tyres cool down a little bit and then you come back and then they go back up to temp. And that can sometimes cause a little bit of graining, so that's why maybe it's favourable to leave the pit stop as late as possible, get as much out of those tyres as you possibly can. But Giacomin looks like he's back on pace here and he's diving into pit lane. So he is the first one out of the top 5 there to blink.
As he pulls it up very nicely. And we've got another...
That's Jacob Weatherburn and the M&M Mobile.
Weatherburn following him in the M&M Mobile. We saw Barker was up towards the top 10 before he was one of the first to pit. I do wonder if that incident on the back straight on the first lap affected him. Hence, I mean, we didn't see really any contact in the replay that involved him. So I do wonder what that 15-second penalty is for. But it will be interesting to see where Barker kind of turns up against some of these front runners that have pitted. As we ride on board now with Brad Cook, our split green round 1 victor from last week, doing a stellar job leading the field once again.
I think Victor Cook races in a different split. It's just Brad. But you see there, Jack Steele, he was in P6 and he pitted a little bit earlier. We'll see where he comes out in relation to Giacomin and Weatherburn there. And there he is right behind Giacomin. So I'm not sure if Giacomin had a poor pit stop. Jack Steele had a great undercut or something, but that gap has come down a lot there. And where is Weatherburn in all this? He's a couple of seconds behind them, I would say.
Yeah, not too far behind Taylor. So the Ferrari club back at it again. We've got Ferrari 12, 13, 14, 15 leading the Group that has pitted first, Charge.
The Ferrari split, the Ferrari gang. Yeah, it's... I tell you what, after kind of like the update we had over the last couple of weeks, and especially for someone like a Brad Cook who's been in the Porsche for so long and has vibed with the Porsche, it's looking like it's kind of made him just stronger, really.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, the Porsche's update has made it a little bit more communicative. Like you can feel a little bit more what the car's doing. Maybe that's just helping the Porsche drivers to sort of balance it a little bit and be a bit more accurate and consistent. And we can see it's really working for Brad Cook. I mean, he's persevered with that Porsche. He's been in it when it wasn't good, and now it's finally coming good. And he's there taking advantage of all the performance gains he's received from it. The McLaren, I'm been in a McLaren for a while now, and it's not bad here, but it feels very different and it feels strange. It's I don't know how to explain it. The brakes are a lot better, but the weight shift feels a little bit worse. So yeah, it's interesting how the update has changed all the cars. Of course, it's tried to add some or remove the LFM BOP and use the ACC BOP at the moment, and that's brought some cars like the Bentley and perhaps the GTR, although there's not many of them in this split, back into contention.
From what Cookie's been saying, like across like the week and stuff like that, is that you can rely on the rear of the Porsche a lot more. It's a lot more stable, and like you just have a lot more trust overall in the car.
Well, yeah, it's one thing the Porsche always struggled with is that rear end, right? Just the amount of traction that it doesn't have. Boo! I mean, it's as we see, car 43 there get another penalty. 10 seconds. I think we saw car 43 get a penalty earlier, although we can't see him on the leaderboard there, so it must be down P24 or further down. Now, who in the top? There we go. Jeff Beaton. I think he was involved in that slight kerfuffle as they came down through Abbey.
Yes, in the sadness he was, as Hignett dives in. Whoa, that was close.
That was
real close.
I think he slowed it up, but
that was clenched. That was clenched.
I think he may need a new seat after that, as his butt may have taken a bite out of it. But I think he made it. We'll see soon enough. But that's the type of entry that could. Oh no, he had to move a little bit there, so that's cost him time.
So yeah, that now begs the question of where does Giacomin come in? He's coming down the main straight. He's hitting the main straight now, but Hignett's already moved in the box and is probably left the pits more. Yeah, so definitely there's been a bit of I feel like Giacomin's he's missed the box somewhere or something like that, because he's well and truly behind Hignett now. Still under a little bit of an attack from Steele, even though that gap has opened up to 1.7 seconds now. So yeah, just not the stop that Giacomin's wanted.
Yeah, we saw how much time he lost to Jack Steele there, and this just puts it into perspective. That's how many seconds is that? 3 seconds on a 1 second pit stop. That's a big loss.
It's an almighty loss. But we do expect Brad Cook to potentially run this out as long as he can, as you said, avoid some of that graining as much as possible. Rashmat's 5.7 seconds behind, Smith another 1.9 seconds behind him. So we see Brad overtake some blue flags.
You're nearly at this point if you're Brad. I don't know if you had a gap on him. Yeah, so he's going to stay out. You just keep the fresh air and keep the clean air, really. And you don't really need to cover off Hignett, I don't think.
No, I think the gap was big enough for him to not worry about that, really. And your car after the pit stop is not going to be much faster than it was before the pit stop, so you don't really have to worry about that undercut too much. See car 610 there get a penalty, another car that's not on the top 23 leaderboard there for dangerous driving. It's Robinson in the Ferrari in P26 at the moment, so not ideal. As we see Rahmat and Hutama jump into pit lane there. That looked like a slow pit stop for Rahmat.
That looked very slow, yeah. Maybe, I hope he didn't change for tyres. I hope it was just fuel.
No, he's still way ahead of Jack Omen, so maybe... Oh, he's very close to Hignett, in fact.
Side by side. Let's Hignett go, but he'll be definitely looking to try and take advantage of that Bentley's straight line speed down the straight.
A little bit of a bounce there, just halfway through, and that's probably going to cost him a little bit on exit. As you see, Hignett pulls a little bit of a gap, and I think Hignett should be safe for now, but if Rahmat can fire up and get a bit of pace in these couple of laps, maybe try and stick with Hignett and, as you said, take advantage of the big old British legs on that Bentley and get past. But Hignett has done very well. He's into provisional P2 here at the moment, unless Brad Cook has an absolute mare of a pit stop or a drive-through for speeding in pit lane.
You've jinxed it now. You've cursed him. You've cursed him.
I don't think he needs to send it too hard into the pit lane, though. Like, I think he'll be fine just kind of cruising in there. He's got the gap. He's got the kind of like the fresh air, whereas like Rashmat is all over the back of Hignett here. This could turn into a little battle here for P2 and 3.
Let's see what he can do coming down the straight here. I don't think it's going to be quite close enough for any potential send, but we do know he does have a bit of a speed advantage. Is he close enough to at least make Hignett think of defending? Hignett stays on the racing line. He doesn't defend. Can't afford to go deep though. Rahmat will dive up the inside. And nope, that's a bit of a moment there. And we see Tok Bromo in chat. That is Mohin Taufik, who has moved to the split and could unfortunately not join the server. So hopefully we can see him in split green from next week. That'll be another name that we'll see up near the pointy end as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially as he's like over the past probably 6 or so months a big improver around OR and in the league itself. So it'd be good to have him there. As Smith is in pit lane, he should be moving soon. Just look at Brad Cook's just on a world of his own on half the track. It's just.
And he's got the fastest lap with a 157.7, which is
Moving.
what anybody would want for a quali lap, let alone a race pace lap. That is absolutely moving, as we see him give it a big old slide through there.
I have to admit the Porsche looks very predictable, which is not something
weird thing to say.
Porsche. He looks so safe and just comfortable, and yeah, he's really getting the most of performance out of it. As we see, pit window is closing in 1 minute and 30 seconds, so he won't have time to go around once again.
So we expect the pit now. We'll see him dive in. Is it going to be a clean entry? He's not under pressure, so he should be taking it nice and slow. Well done.
Yeah, good entry.
Good entry. Great job.
No skids though, so that's a bit boring. I mean, it's so far ahead, he can add some entertainment value.
Maybe he's going to skid out of pit lane. Like maybe he's going to light the rears up out of pit lane, the cold rears, you know.
I think he might have seen Kale in the split before. Unfortunately, get a stop-go 30 while in the lead position. So
big Sag.
Didn't want a repeat of that one, and he's down. Very bouncy looking Porsche there. We see Hignett's coming around at the last corner onto the front straight now with Rashmat very much still on the back of his bumper. Cook is a mile out in front and is just loving life.
Yeah, he has absolutely been dominant so far. And is there a more intimidating car to have on your rear bumper than that Bentley? It's just...
Yeah, I was going to say it's a toss-up between the Bentley or a GTR. The Bentley is just fills up so much of that rear view. As you're going down the straight, he's got a decent exit.
It's both those cars though, like the Bentley and the GTR, like you see them in the rear view and you're scared. You are really scared.
Can we just stay in cockpit view as he goes down into the down Vale and into Club, because I just want to see how close that Bentley comes up. He's playing it. I just wanted that full nose to come all the way to that camera view. It's just one of the scariest things you can picture.
Just when your rear view mirror is only Bentley grille, you start panicking.
Oh yeah, you do.
As we see a very sad Ethan Cale there. Even if you're around on Sundays, there's like a track walkthrough where they teach you how to do the track, and they also teach you how to do pit entry. You should definitely attend one of those. That's a good shout out to our rookie league as well here in OOR. We do have, this is of course our Simrigs Sprint Series brought to you by simrigs.com, where all of our Patreons can get 5% discount, and for all your sim racing needs, that is the place to go if you're in Australia. And of course we do have our rookie league that runs on Tuesdays, where there's a lot of teaching going on, or it's referred to now as the academy actually. A lot of learning, a lot of teaching. There's track walkthroughs, there's all kinds of practice races, and of course next weekend, the big one, it's Bathurst 12 hours.
Yes, very much looking forward to that. And yeah, great shout out to the Academy series. It's definitely worth getting into if you are new to ACC or OOR. It's a great opportunity to learn how to race against other people, learn new things about tracks that you've potentially raced on before or never raced on before. As we see, Luca Giacomin definitely still under a lot of heat from Steele. Steele was almost down about 2 seconds a few laps after his pit stop, so Steele has definitely reeled that back in, with Giacomin only still being about 3 seconds off Rashmat. So not a lot of pace lost there between Giacomin and Rashmat, but Steele definitely sensing a bit of blood in the water and is looking to try and make his way up into fourth.
I've just noticed, currently we have David Barker sitting in P9. He has a 15-second penalty. So for those unaware, next race is a reverse grid for the top 10. And currently that's going to mean Sean Miller is going to be your pole sitter for race number 2 here in Split Green.
Yeah, actually, if things stay the same as what it is, then yeah, Muller's going to get the spot in P10 for the pole. As we're still on board with Seal, he's starting to apply the pressure to Chair Coleman coming down in the Brooklands. These kind of top 5, 6 are still well within rights to be battling or whatever. Steele loses it and goes a bit wide there.
I guess you could say that corner is his kryptonite. Eh?
Oh no.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
We just see confirmation there from a Gorilla that Muller killed Hutama, apparently. So he will get a penalty. So never mind, I stand corrected.
So it'll be Vintner
Vintner,
if that comes
yeah.
through in time.
And see, that'll be a good shout for him because he is a speedy boy, so he does have quite a lot of potential to take that pole and potentially run away with the race. He was quite strong last week with a unfortunate a couple of incidents that occurred involving him, where he's definitely got the pace.
Of course, he's not maybe in the most favorable car, but that is, there we see the penalty for Sean Muller, 15 seconds. And that is the benefit of these reverse grid races. Sometimes drivers who don't necessarily have the pace to compete for wins on outright pace, they do get that opportunity to start a little bit ahead of the faster drivers. And there's only 30 minutes, it's not a lot of time to really go through the field. So then you see first time winners, and I don't think Vintner, I'm not sure if he's won a race in OR before, but he could be in the pound seats to get that win.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you got to pounce on it, and if you're given that opportunity, you got to run with it and just try and make the best of it. As yep, that 15-second penalty for Muller has come through. I just seen at Magaton. Oh, Jacob Weatherburn is off just after Abby lost it. Ferrari things, I reckon, just under high speed, the load of the car. Doesn't look like he's hit a wall or anything.
But speaking of not hitting walls, Brad Cook comes around the final corner for the final time. He takes the win here in race 1 for Split Green. Benjamin Hignett a couple of seconds down the road. He withstood the pressure from Fadli Rahmat there. Fadli Rahmat taking P3 in the big, beautiful boat. Luka Jacoman, he's been under all kinds of pressure from Jack Steele there, and he manages to cross the line less than 2/10 ahead of the man of steel, Christopher Taylor, in P6. Graham Hill in that BMW. Still weird for me seeing him in a BMW, not a McLaren. Crosses in P7. David Barker, he does have that 15-second penalty, which will affect him. Jacob Weatherburn in P9. And he has Hutema in P10. We'll see how things play out once everybody's penalties have been served. But that was a pretty exciting race. Not for Brad Cook, but for the rest of the top 10. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was great clean racing there from majority of the top 10. As we see Smith come across the line, Rashidi behind him in 16th.
What happened to Smith? He was running in P5 before.
Has Smith had a DC?
No, it's because he's P15, so that he won't lose that little with the DC with you.
He kind of just slipped off the radar there, yeah. Toccolini in his very broken Porsche.
He had enough fuel. Well done, Damiano.
He's done it. Well done.
We can all sleep tonight. He's finished a race here.
And there we see Dan Foxtrot crossing the line. John Rad, he was involved in that the big one. We saw on lap 2, and he crosses the line in P24. Julian Gray, he was also involved doing all kinds of wicked skids. Not in a time that he wanted to do them, but he crosses the line in P25. And I think he will be the last driver to cross the line on track. Now, of course, we do have another qualifying session, which will only be for the drivers who finished P11 and below. And then on the next race, another 30-minute race with one mandatory pit stop.
Yes. And it looks like Barker, even though he had that 15-second penalty, he has ended up 10th, with Vintner missing out by only a few tenths there. So we jumped to the results. We have Brad Cook, Benjamin Hignan, and Rashmat taking out the 1, 2, 3 position. Barker ended up 10th, so he will take pole for race 2, with Vintner right beside him, who took 9th. And then, as Paige was talking about, we have from 11th onwards, they will now jump out and do a quali session, while the top 10 finishers of race 1 will be flipped. So starting on with Barker, Vintner, Hudemar, and Hill taking out the first 2 rows.
Now,
as in reverse, or flipped as in they'll all go over a curb and flip upside down.
Now, I'd just like to say, that first race, yeah, whatever. This is the race we came for, the reverse grid, right?
This is the race we came for. I love a good reverse grid race. I have remembered it being very much a staple in my first few seasons here in the Sprint Series at OOR, and it was always the race format to look out for. Top 10 reverse grid, and I think in some grids it's even been even more than that, and it's where the excitement is.
Yeah, it used to be a top 12 reverse, which I mean, it's only 2 extra drivers, but it does make for a little bit more chaos. I take you back to a rainy day in Zolder about 6 seasons ago, where Split Red got its famous nickname of Split Blood, and there were 4 safety cars, of which 3 were in the second race.
Yes. There was lots of synchronized spinning in that one.
And bumping and grinding and just
straight
chaos.
Murder. It got called Split Blood for a reason from that point onwards, and it was just straight murder for a lot of the split. And part of that reverse grid does play a part. We have faster drivers looking to try and capitalize as much as they can back up the field, while sometimes a couple of drivers caught out of what we would call their regular positions towards the front, looking to try and defend that position as much as possible. So it does bring out some of the most exciting racing. Definitely brings the elbows out for sure. and I am thoroughly looking forward to the first couple of laps of race 2 in particular.
I'm looking forward to Maggots and Beckets. That's what I'm looking forward to. Going 4 wide. Let's make it happen.
4 wide, let's do it. No, we've got to beat the last split. We've got to get 5 wide through Maggots. We need more.
No, thank you. I have an appointment then, sorry. Yeah, that sounds like absolute chaos. We see there Firelord Racing. He was the race director for Split Blood when the famous race at Zolder happened, and it was quite the occasion, I would say. But yeah, we see Fadli Rahmat in chat saying also the Bentley is very slow as he finishes on the podium. Wish my Bentley was that slow. But yeah, no, it's obviously not as well tuned at most tracks at the moment, but it's still got a very strong result out of it. Now the question is, you have to make the prediction now. Who is your pick for the win in race 2?
The win?
The win.
The win.
Not winning the death count, just winning the race.
That's a very... I'm going to go with... Steele was up there in the top 10, wasn't he? Yeah, he was right on the back of G-Cam, and I'm going to throw my chips out on Steele.
I'll go Vintner for taking what could possibly be his first win.
I'll go for Barker. I know he does tend to get involved in some incidents, but he is also a very, very fast driver when he can get it together, and he's starting on pole. So if you can get ahead of Benny Vintner from the start there, I reckon he can very easily take a win. Glenn, if you can boost my mic ever so slightly. Apparently I am a little bit quiet. But we see the first laps coming in here. Jacob Weatherburn, after his little oopsie in the first race, he is currently sitting in P1 on a 57.962. Damiano Thurcolini hopefully has enough fuel for another lap. He is currently sitting in P2. And we have a couple of other drivers who are very, very quick, who should still be setting laps. Ray Smith there, currently sitting in P7. I reckon it's going to be a bit of a ding dong between him and Weatherburn for that pole position out of the remaining drivers.
Yeah, I reckon between those two, they look to be kind of like the drivers who are a bit quicker than all the rest. Like Muller, if he puts his foot down and like is having a good day, could possibly sneak in there. But yeah, Yoda and Ray Smith both being good drivers behind the wheels of their Ferrari.
We see Weatherburn coming around here. It's such a short qualifying session. It's only 8 minutes. You don't have a lot of time, and it's quite a long track, nearly 2-minute lap times. So you can get potentially 3, maybe 4 if you get out of pit lane very, very early. But most likely you get 3 laps, and Weatherburn crosses the line. He does a 57.3. That is a belter of a lap.
It's a great lap time.
And we haven't seen any 56s today. I think Ray Smith is one of those drivers who's capable of it. Weatherburn maybe in the right conditions as well. He can get some serious pace out of that car. Let's see as we go on board here with Ray Smith in that beautiful orange Ferrari of him. He's already gained nearly 4 tenths just coming through Maggots and Beckett's onto the hangar straight. That's going to put him at a 57.7 at the moment, roughly 57.8. So he still has a lot of time to gain through the rest of the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see, Rashudi's jumped up there. He's only 0.15 of a second behind in third. So it's definitely on for the top couple of steps there on in this second qualifying session. As we see Smith gaining another 2 tenths or so coming into Sector 2. So if he keeps it up at this rate, he potentially is on for a good show. Around Abbey.
Look how much time he's gained through there. That's 2 tenths just through there alone.
Absolutely. Hold on to your seatbelts, mate, because Smith potentially going to pit Weatherburn here if he can keep it up. He's gained... Oh, he's lost a little bit of time on exit. He's only got to gain a couple of hundredths to keep it up into the pole position. So we'll see how much time he can gain into the last couple of corners as he goes into Brooklands. See, Weatherburn didn't manage to improve his time. He had invalidated, so it's all down to Smith, who has lost a bit of time through the field there, but let's see if he can... Yeah, that was a great lap. It was definitely on board. See, Rashudi's also up 6/10. Wow.
One more corner to go. Can he get a better exit than Ray Smith? That not by much. It's not going to be enough to pip Ray Smith there, but it will consolidate at P3. As you can see, the pace difference there between the top 3 and P4 at the moment. Costa, he's improving by 2/10 or so, so not going to do much for his position. And I don't think anybody else is really in a position to move up further through the field. Let's see as the rest of them cross the line.
Potentially
I saved that.
here to jump a couple of spots.
Just needs a good exit out of the final corner here. Maybe carrying a little bit too much speed. Can he keep it on the exit? He hasn't lost anything on exit. Actually, no, he gets a great exit.
Great
Gains
exit.
a bunch of time.
gain.
This could be P3, P4. P4 it is.
Well
Yeah,
done.
good lap. Good lap.
Great lap. The track must have just switched on in that last lap. Everybody's up half a second.
Yeah, as we see Dan Foxtrot here, crosses the line. He has not really gained very much towards the end there, and that will do it. Now, if you're wondering why there's 10 cars who hasn't qualified, they are your top 10 from race 1. So once the drivers click drive and go to grid, the race director will call out their positions, a reverse grid for the top 10, and then the qualifying session we just saw there with Jacob Weatherburn taking the pole position, inverted commas, Ray Smith in P2, Stefano Ricciuti, Sean Miller, Andre Costa, Damiano Thurcolini, and a couple of other drivers there. So this is going to be very interesting. I'm excited.
Excited is, yes, definitely a word. I reckon this will be spicy content.
Yes, please like and subscribe for more spicy content. As we'll see in a minute, as everyone sets up their setups for race number 2, another 30-minute race with a mandatory pit stop, but not for tyres, for fuel only. You'll see in a minute, the race director will start calling out the top 10 reverse grid, and then the rest of the field will follow as we jump on board. It looks like we are about to potentially do a grid walk to have a look at some of the cars on the grid, as we see Yoda in his M&M Ferrari, Smith with the orange Ferrari, and Rashudi, as we can see.
Click the mouse wheel to take that away. There we go.
We fixed that. There we go. Rashudi in that classic Lamborghini.
The absolute brand loyalist.
I've only seen him in one other car, and that was in the NSX in the Duo series of about 5, 6, 8 seasons ago, roughly. And yeah, good advertisement for the Duo series starting soon with the American leg. That livery, what is that?
Whose face is that?
What is that?
Why?
Godfrey, what have you done?
There's no need for that.
Can anybody give us a hint as to who that is? Chat, does anybody know?
Pretty sure that's him, isn't it?
Is it? Is it just a self-portrait? Oh, we
Oh
lost.
my god. Imagine following that. Thanks, I hate it.
I'd just delete my screen if I got stuck behind that.
This is a terrible day to have eyes. Look at that. Anyway,
I'd love to see it.
I'm sure there's other cars on the grid as well. There we go. See a question there from Nick Brenner. Will there be a championship involving some GT2 cars? Nothing confirmed at the moment, but join the Discord if you're not in it yet, and have a look. There's certainly some fun races that takes place where you can jump in, and or has its own public lobby as well at Red Bull Ring at the moment, which is great fun. While these guys line up, have you guys tried a little bit of Red Bull Ring? What are your thoughts? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you a terrible person and you don't like it, or what's your opinions?
Absolute great track. It's like it's already a top 5 track in ACC. Awesome track.
Goated, 100%. I was not expecting it, but I do love a bit of Red Bull Ring in other sims, and was absolutely shocked and surprised to see it jump into ACC, but couldn't love it more. It's fantastic.
It's such a good track. Really look forward to doing some racing there. I haven't driven a GT3 car there, only the GT2s, but even that was a bunch of fun already. And yeah, as Connor said, it's up. Ray Smith. That's
that is definitely a line. He ran into the the wall.
At Silverstone.
Maybe he got burnt out by Godfrey's eyes on the back of the car, you know?
Going for the esports strat?
I mean, to be fair, getting away from Godfrey's car will take precedence over everything else.
But he was in front. He was in front of Godfrey's car. He's now behind Godfrey's car, and we'll have to look at it probably at some point as he tries to make his way up the field.
Yeah, but he was aware of Godfrey's car being in the vicinity, and that's enough to drive a man mad.
Yeah, he blinded himself.
See a couple of people in chat. Ferox saying, I like Red Bull Ring, but I don't like needing to buy a bunch of cars that I don't use. Have you tried them? They're great fun. I mean,
I do feel like it was the other way around, though. I do feel like, if we're going to be honest, I do feel like Kunos was trying to sell the GT2 cars and to make it a bit more lucrative through the Red Bull Ring in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what they've done, which is like, you know, it's a smart move on their part.
It's worked. It's worked. I quite honestly didn't have much intention of purchasing the GT2 cars, but definitely for the Red Bull Ring.
But anyway, Red Bull Ring aside, this is Silverstone, and we are about to go racing for the second race here in Split Green. David Barker leads them away, Benjamin Vinton next to him. Garahandi, Hutama, Graham Hill, Christopher Taylor, Jack Steele, Luka Jacoman, Fadli Rahmat, Benjamin Hignett, and Brad Cook is your top 10. Connor Hind, how do you feel about taking us away for the content?
Yes, I can.
Let's go.
Let's go. This is excellent as they round around the final little curve bit coming towards the line. It'll be a bit of delayed start here, I reckon. So very likely see it towards the start of turn 1. We have Barker on the inside, Vintner on the outside, Hutama behind, and Hill behind on the second row. There's a bit of a gap there as they go racing round the finals, round the first turn. Everyone is kind of, there was a bit of a jolt there. Steele is around. Steele has said, nope, I don't want to borrow that. Cook has moved up a spot. And Vintner's taken the lead from Barker. So that's good going into Maggots and Beckett's. Everyone kind of is fairly evenly kind of just providing a dull, clean, safe race to start, and I'm not a fan of that. Where is the content, gentlemen?
Oh, there's Rahmat making it free wide, coming down into Stowe towards the front there. It's 2 by 2 now. Will he be able to send it up the inside there? Hutama very late on the brakes. Rahmat could potentially get a run into Vale here. 2 by 2. There's 2 by 2 behind them. Also Brad Cook and Christopher Taylor, who's late on the brakes.
Oh.
Christopher Taylor so deep on the brakes, and he pulls it up, and he gets the move on Hignett with contact there on Christopher Taylor. That is not ideal. Hignett also involved in that turn 1 incident with Jack Steele, so the stewards may have a little view of that, but that was fantastic racing there by Rahmat and Cook behind him as well.
Yeah, fantastic job there. As we see the Bentley speed in the straights, he looked like he was potentially going to make a move there, but Barker up into first. See, Rushman, the Bentley very wide. Oh, there's going to be chaos as Brad Cook manages to avoid what was going to be certain death. We see Hutama just managing to hold Rashmat off. He's doing a fantastic job making that Ferrari seem wider than the Bentley, but we see the Bentley pull out. Going to try and make a move up the inside. He is in the vortex. He's going to give a little bit of rubbing. He send him wide. Watch on the rejoin as he's now lost the rear and in front of Rashuti. It's just chaos as we love to see it. But Brad Cook, the big winner out of this one. As Rashuti's gone up a few places as well. Fastest lap times are coming in. They are useless for now as they've only completed one lap. But we will see Rashuti try and make a move up the inside into turn one. Hudema's gone very wide there and he's just managed to lose out, and Rashuti is going to be in front as they go into Maggots, but Hudema with two very angry looking Ferraris behind him.
Yeah, no, Hudema got bullied there. That's going to be an interesting one to call for the stewards there. It looks as though Rahman almost got side by side and Hudema just sort of closed the door a little bit, but that's going to be very interesting to see. But as Connor mentioned there at the start there, Vintner got the overtake done on Barker in turn one. He was leading by the time they got to Maggots and Beckett's. He's still leading, but Barker is all over the back of him. Graham Hill and Luca Giacomo not too far behind these guys. They are piling the pressure on as well. Look how deep they are on the brakes. And the problem for these guys is Rahmat, Cook and Hignett are right behind them on track. There's still 27 minutes of racing to happen. So a lot of the fast guys trying to push their way forward as well.
Be interesting to see how Vintner goes under pressure as Hill decides to go a little bit wide and mow some lawn. Giacomo's going to shoot down the inside, too wide. Oh, he's got the move done. Nice move. Oh, Hill will not quite fight back. So Giacomo moves up a spot in the P3. He's probably going to be a dark horse for this race. But it'll be interesting to see how Vintner holds his own with the pressure of all the faster drivers behind him trying to push forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Hill definitely looking to be under pressure here, as you can see that giant Bentley in his rear views with Brad Cook and Hignett not too far behind him. So it will be interesting to see how the front runners do hold up, knowing that these boys are on their way.
Giacomo and Hignett takes the fastest lap there, 58.6. I think we'll see that come down a little bit. So far, Vintner handling the pressure very well. That might be a warning for Giacomo there. Barker drops off Vintner a little bit there, but I think the Ferrari is a lot better through Maggots and Beckett's than the MG is. Rahmat putting all kinds of pressure on the Barney mobile there. The purple BMW there from Hill. Will Rahmat be able to get alongside? No, Hill closes the door. Rahmat is going to try around the outside, is he? No, he's making Hill think what to do. He just leaves it in the middle of the track. Will he try and go around the outside? No, but Hignett may around the outside of Cookie. Cook is onto the back of Rahmat here. Will he be able to dive up the inside? Rahmat is in the middle of the track. Cook maybe around the outside. There we go. 10-second penalty for Benjamin Hignett for that T1 incident. Cook up the inside of Rahmat. Rahmat gets a decent enough exit and he's able to pit right ahead of Cook. But Cook still piling the pressure on, and that is not ideal for Hignett's race, getting that 10-second penalty there.
This is going to be the interesting thing too with these reverse grid kind of races, is that when you're going, like it's such a short time frame, you're going to attack as Rashmat goes deep. If you're trying to attack, it's like what we're seeing right now. Cook, then you make one small maneuver wrong and Cook is all over the back of him. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes about this, trying to attack back onto the back of Hill.
Oh, what happened to Vintner?
And Barker. Giacomo's jumped both of them.
Vintner, wow, okay. Giacomo has just said, I've had enough.
And he'll be looking to use that to his advantage to try and gap Rashmat, Cook and Hignett having an early breakaway from the pack, as he's already starting to put the gas down and make a break. So I wonder what's happened there, as Rashuti brings up the fastest lap, 58.6. Well done. If we can potentially get which happens to be exactly the same fastest time as Hignett. Well done.
That never happens. Sorry, that's a bit of an inside joke. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can get a replay of what happened between Vintner, Barker, and Giacomo.
I wonder if they came together a little bit, like a little bit of a touch up, and Giacomo kind of took advantage.
You'd assume so at this rate, considering that he's got past them both very cleanly. So as you see, we come into sector 2. That train is still very long. There is still 10, 11, nearly 12 cars all in a row. So it'd be interesting to see. We've got Rashmat still on the back of Hill. Cook still held up by that as well. And we see Luca here just out in the fresh air, just trying to inch that lead as much as he possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Jack Homan, is just extending that lead. It's now over 1.1 seconds. Vintner and Barker are still kind of sticking together, and then there's like about another second gap back to Hill.
That Giacomin just had in the Ferrari through that sector, just absolutely sent it, full trust, and yeah, well done, props to him.
Rahmat had an incident.
Well, we see Hill and Rahmat falling behind. Cook's now up into 4th and looking to get onto the back of Barker. Hignet's followed him through, so potentially a bit of comeuppance between Hill and Rahmat there. But yeah, look out, Barker, because you have Brad Cook, race 1 winner, in your review.
I mean, the Porsche's not intimidating at all to look at in the rear view mirror, so it just looks like a little love bug kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like more than name coming up behind him on the timing sheets as opposed. Salona, not J. Coman, sorry. Rashmat and I believe that was Rashudi jumping into the pits as well.
Yeah, that was almost a dangerous rejoin there from Rahmat, but good awareness to know that Rashudi was coming. But yeah, good advantage taken there by Benjamin. You see Rahmat in pits. I don't think there's too much in that. You know, it's 2 cars going side by side in an area where going side by side is tricky. And just a slight little door bang. I mean, Rahmat lost out a little bit, but it's not the end of the world.
It's probably is going to be just a play on, really. I would think, and just like a move on. Not really, like lost out a spot or 2, but it was nothing really, as you said. Like, you know, race ending.
Yeah, it's a bit of kudos things to have a bit of a door bang like that result in such what like appears to be such a large incident. As we have Brad Cook looking very hungry, looking to see what as they go almost 3 wide. Barker making a fantastic move up onto Vintner. As Vintner's going to throw himself back up on the inside. We are going to go 2 by 2, but I think Barker just might have.
Great stuff by Vintner, keeping it there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brad's just going to back off on this one and just see how this one plays out for a second.
Barker's giving him all the room, but he is going to be around for the final as they go. That is close. That is... It's kind of compromised Vintner's line, though, which is allowed...
Oh, in the grass.
Oh, yeah, bit of a bad exit there as J. Coleman pumps in another fastest lap. That's going to allow Brad to tack alongside, and this is we going down into turn 1. Let's see how that goes. Vintner kind of throws it wide as
Here comes Hignett.
is going to take... Oh, no, this is going to be 3 wide. I can't.
Hey, you are asking for 4 wide. You want this.
Okay, yes, I do.
Anyway, Vintner does very well there. He stays ahead. Cookie stays ahead of Hignett, and Hill is right behind him. We have a yellow flag in the background there. It looks like car 69, I think. That is Alexander Tonkin, who's had an incident there at T1. But yeah, great driving there by Vintner to hold on to position. He placed the car beautifully. Didn't defend into the loop, which I thought was a weird decision, but he managed to just keep it on the outside of the Porsche of Cook there.
Yeah, it's been great stuff. It's almost just the fear of something happening in such fast sections of the track. That turn 1, especially, and then into Maggots and Beckett's is just so fast that just the slightest touch can cause so many problems. So smart racing there by both Cook and Hignett as they fell back into order going through Maggots and Becks, but that was the spicy content I think Connor was waiting for.
I was waiting for it on. I wasn't prepared after the lap 1 calmness. I needed it to be all on lap 1. But like going back to the race, all this is allowing, this battling, this squabbling, is just for J. Coleman to just keep extending the gap.
It's now over 5 seconds, and he's holding the fastest lap. He's into the 57s. He's got the clean air. So it's all on him as we're almost at the halfway point of this race.
Not a lot of pit stops done yet. We see Jacob Weatherburn there, your lead driver, to have performed the pit stop, and he is ahead of Rahmat now. 8 tenths ahead of him, and then Rachuti a couple of seconds down the road from them. So, I mean, Weatherburn was around P10, I think, before he pitted. So, going to be interesting to see how everything there plays out as we see Graham Hill there dive into pit lane. He's one of the first drivers out of the top 10 to really dive in.
Well, yeah, no, you are. Yep, sorry.
Weatherburn's also got free track in front of him, if you notice, because he's coming up to just the start line now. So, yeah, he might eclipse Hill or have Hill just on his inside. How's that looking on the map? I reckon he's just going to
get him.
Oh, it's going to be close. So that's essentially catapulted, though, realistically, Weatherburn up into the kind of that 4-5th battle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was just about to bring up, as well as that. With that early pit stop, Weatherburn has had free track, while the top 5 have essentially, excluding Giacomin, have all been fighting and tripping over one another. So his pace in the free air would have been relatively much faster, and has really brought him back up into that top 5 battle.
Very interesting to see how this plays out. You see Rahmat, who was of course in that battle with Hill, and he's right behind Hill still, even after the little off track. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting as we see a couple of more drivers still have to do their pit stop. Top 14 drivers, they haven't performed any of their pit stops. Good to see Julian Gray there up in P13 at the moment. Of course, there's drivers who have pitted behind him, but I haven't seen him have too many incidents this race after quite a dramatic first one. So hopefully a bit of a cleaner race.
Yeah, hopefully stays incident free and, like, you know, just chugs along, gets on with it. So it'd be good to see where he ends up once everything's kind of played out. As we're watching on board with Yoda, who's all over the back of Hill. Probably also, I don't know if you could call them fresh. They're both the same sets of tyres, really. So, but he just looks like he has the pace and the consistency.
See Hignett dive into pit lane. He will of course have to serve that 10-second penalty, so it's really going to hurt him. And he's going to drop down a couple of positions, I would say. Weatherburn, as you said, all over the back of Hill there, just can't find a way through yet. BMW does have superior top line, or top speed, I would say, but The Ferrari just a better car through areas like Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah,
To see. Sorry, Connor. You
Rahman.
want that?
oh, okay. Ruckmart's having a look up the inside. That's good racing between the two of them. Too wide through Max and Beck. It's a hard thing to pull off. Yeah, like, as in the Ferrari, you really got to make your moves done into a corner or like through a corner, as opposed to if you rely on doing it on a straight. A lot of cars, especially something like a BMW, is really going to, as Ruckmart overtakes Yoda, and Yoda's going to try and fight back. But yeah, a car like the BMW will always in a straight have the Ferrari down, so you kind of got to be wary of where you pick your battles.
Ferrari does, of course, have epic brakes, along with the BMW also has some pretty impressive brakes. So you can try and do those late lunges and pull it up, as we saw Graham Hill do a little bit earlier there into Brooklands. And yeah, it's interesting how the different cars have their strengths and weaknesses in certain areas. Some cars are phenomenal through the medium speed stuff and then awful through the slow stuff, and then there's other cars that are the complete reverse, and all the tracks play to certain advantages, and that's what makes it so much fun to go over a whole season where all the tracks are so different.
I think that's, for me, and probably like a lot of other people, is one of the biggest things about this sim and like all the cars that are involved in it, is that like you can pick your preference and all of them are so varied kind of thing. So it's just awesome to see the different kind of strengths and weaknesses come together and play out.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely enjoy that aspect of GT3 racing and ACC in particular. I think it's fantastic to see a whole different set of cars in the same class be so different in some of their personalities, as we see Vingenaar's come
lost out a lot.
Out of the pits. Yeah, he's lost out a fair bit, and he's got Hill all over the back of him. It'll be interesting to see if the BMW's got the legs, as he seems to potentially have the better exit, but Rashmat's right there as well with the Bentley power under the hood. As we get a little bit of a weird jump back to the pits there. Whereas Hill might be potentially in two places at once. But we're going to see Rashmat try and take the outside of Hill, who is held up by Vingenaar just a little bit. He's going to be the inside for the right-hander. Yoda right behind him, trying to take advantage of the space created. That's
Yoda is
pushed out
absolutely
very
getting
wide.
towed through there.
He'll paid for the whole track, he'll use all of it, okay? Track limits don't matter, but that was a great move by Rahmat there. Obviously had a bit of a revenge to take there after their previous battle, as we see Yoda try and go up the inside again. He'll back up the inside through the spot. Will they be side by side? Now it's going to be a drag race between the Ferrari and the BMW, and as we were discussing, most of the time the BMW should win this drag race, although Yoda will have a little bit of a tow from the big old Bentley there. It should throw a big wake behind it. And they are side by side coming down into Brooklands again. Hill has the inside. Can Yoda hold it along the outside? No, he's not quite capable of doing that this time around, and Hill stays ahead for now. But great opportunistic driving there from Yoda, trying to get the move done, but Hill just a resolute defender there and stays ahead.
Mega racing though, like gave each other respect and track, and there was no bump, and it was just all clean trust. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Great defending there by Hill. And as you said, great respect. As we see now that Bentley right up on the back of that Merc through Maggots and Beckett's. We'll see which front-mounted big engine's going to have the most power down the straight. As we see, looks like Vingenaar managed to get potentially a better exit as we jump on board with Gia Coman, and we're now back to Rashmat and Vingenaar. Looks like the Merc has won out that drag race for now, but it'll be interesting to see if Rashmat's got it, as we see Vingenaar go very wide. That'll be a track limit warning if I've ever seen one.
What are
Manages to maintain.
He actually paid $4.99 for extra piece of track DLC. Can confirm.
Can confirm. But yeah, we see that Bentley's looking very hungry on the back of that Mercedes.
He's so close to the back of him there. Piling the pressure on Wolverton to defend here. He sort of half-heartedly defends, just puts it in the middle there.
Oh! No!
Oh, just carrying so much more speed than the Merc, which, as you said, kind of half defended, missed the apex a little bit, and has caused all sorts of drama.
God, free livery. Can we please watch another battle? Anyway, good respect there from Rahmat. He knew he made a mistake there, and he redressed to Vintana immediately. Good gentlemanly conduct there. I don't think there was any malicious intent there. That was just, as you said, carrying a lot more speed. I'm not sure if Vintana had a little bit of a moment maybe on exit. But yeah, unfortunate there. It was such a clean battle up until then. See a couple more drivers in the top 10 going into pit lane, and that is an unfortunate end here for these two drivers, showing a lot of respect up until that point.
And like as well, like there's nothing, no matter how good of a driver you are, in that flash of a pan moment, there's really nothing you can do. That would have just came up without even a reflex reaction or anything. So yeah, it's good by Rahmat to kind of half redress and kind of give Vintner the spot to let the battle continue, but that was some good racing beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if the stewards do potentially put a penalty for causing an incident. It's just one of those moments where it was just too difficult to see in the moment, I think.
Oh!
As we see a big old drift by the Bentley. Eurobeat intensifies.
I did not
dare
know
say
the drift DLC was out already.
Yeah, I thought that was coming in March, but it's already come a month early.
The beta's out. The beta's already out. You can pay $5.99 for the drift DLC. I dare say, though, those rear tyres on those two cars are cooked. But not as cooked as Brad Cook, who is only 2/10 behind Barker in third. So he's made his way back up into the podium and is into the pits and is right behind Barker as they come in.
Not as cooked as well as the eyesight of Vintner and Rahmat looking at the back of Godfrey's car. What shambles.
I mean, that's... I would just cause another incident just to get away from it, really, to be fair.
Eyes are burning. I'd probably just run into the back of him by just being so locked on to someone staring back at me like that.
Let's see, Cook is there. Will he come out ahead? He's ahead.
Oh, he's going to come out in front. No way.
The Porsche pit crew does the job, and he's ahead. That was a great pit stop there by Brad Cook, and he doesn't even get a drive-through. So, well done. Jacoman, 9 seconds ahead. 5 minutes remaining. Can Brad Cook do it? No, he can't. No.
I wonder if,
We've got to believe.
I wonder if Barker slightly missed his box, like missed his entry and got moved.
I dare say more than likely. Or it was the Ferrari Formula One team pit crew that's turned up this weekend for Barker.
I mean, there's always there's so many small differences in a pit stop of not turning your car off in time or not turning it on quickly enough and stuff like that, and all those things just add up to a couple of tenths here and there. You can see I don't think he was moved because he didn't lose like seconds and seconds. It was just a couple of tenths here or there, but seeing in chat that Sean Miller has disconnected, which is awful news. He was having a good race. We see a 15-second penalty there. That's a big slap for the incident that we saw.
Yeah, big slap. So clearly the stewards have reviewed that, and they have all the camera angles. Who was off there?
That's Yoda up the inside.
Yoda, what a move!
Great move. Yeah, that was Giacomin. That was the black Ferrari of Giacomin. Giacomin has lost it through Abbey, and Brad Cook is now in the lead.
What? This
Giacomin, please pass your curse on to Peage at Lockbag 9999 Crow's Nest. You have been absolutely cursed.
I would also like to say, has Chris Taylor missed the memo of the pit window?
Yes,
or is that a bug?
He has. Yes, he has. Can I get an F in chat for Chris Taylor for missing the pit window, and an F in chat for Giacomin, because what has happened there, Brad, would be... He doesn't know what's happened.
Is Giacomin a paid actor? That's all I'm saying. Brad Cook.
Brad Cook is driving that Porsche like he stole it right now, I reckon.
Absolutely. Is he going to make it 3 from 3? We had to believe. We believed. And here we are a lap later with 3 minutes to go. And he is in the lead. Do we have a replay of Giacomin? I assume he's just lost it on his own with Ferrari Tings. Hopefully there were no other cars involved in that one. But he did have a bit of damage on the front, so he's definitely... Here we go. We've got the replay.
Christopher Taylor missing his pit stop as well. Jacob Weatherburn sitting in provisional P3, starting in P11. What a performance from him as well.
What a performance.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that brings Rashuti up into fourth as well. So great effort by those two who were outside of the top 10 starting this race. So, yeah, well done.
Yeah, and seeing a little bit of debate in chat as well regarding the penalty. I mean, the stewards review it from all angles, and as Tarquin said there, redressing, while gentlemanly, is not considered in the act of the incident. So, you know, it's the nice thing to do, but at the end of the day, you're still going to get the penalty if you caused an incident, and we see the results of that there. Weatherburn here, he's had a fantastic race. Really, he's quite comfortable here where he is at the moment. Richuti nearly just over 2 seconds behind him as well. And yeah, great performance from him. Brad Cook falling into the win this time. I mean, he's put in a great performance. He was in P2 anyway. And Giacomin wrapping it nicely and giving him a gift. Fadli Rahmat must be getting so freaking tired of the back of that Mercedes at the moment. He's been looking at it, got very intimate with it at some stage as well, and he just can't get past.
He'll be dreaming blue and orange tonight, I believe. Because, yeah, he has just not been able to find a way past Vintner, who's done a great job defending as he's gone a little bit wide, seems to be able to let the nose in. But, yeah, it's been great racing all around, up and down the field, particularly for a race 2 event with the reverse grid. I think we have seen we've seen a couple of incidents, but I think overall the racing has been clean and it's been absolutely fantastic.
The viewers came and paid for blood, and they didn't give full blood, so disappointed. Nah, it's been good racing, like all round. Again, another driver is Hignett, who kind of has drove his way through the penalty a bit and kind of done some damage mitigation. Cook has put on an early championship lead in charge, so that's really good. Barker, to hold second or first, mega job.
Speaking of Cook, he comes around the final corner for the final time. And he will take the double win, and that's his third of the season already. He's been pretty much flawless so far. David Barker crosses the line in P2. Jacob Wedderburn will cross the line in P3 once Christopher Taylor gets that 132nd penalty. That's going to hurt.
That's so rough.
Stefano Ricciuti in P4. Graham Hill will take P5. Benjamin Hignett P6. Luca Giacomin all the way down in P8 after that big old incident. And then Ganahari Hutama, Damiano Thurcolini and Benjamin Vintner drops all the way to P10 after starting in P2, and he falls into the squid hole.
Ah, yes, the squid hole.
There's one every split.
Why? Just, gosh. As there's still a couple of drivers there, Dan Foxtrot, Andrea Costa and Diogo Greco to cross the line. Car 6, 7 and 8 line astern. That's not something you see every day in terms of car numbers. Glenn, I dislike what you're doing. But that is going to do it for Split Green here, as we will get a little review of the race results for race 2. Once we click on to the timetables, and as you can see there, race 2, Brad Cook yet again takes the win. David Barker in P2, Jacob Weatherburn takes P3. In your silver class, we do have Ray Smith taking the win. I'm not sure he'll be a silver class driver for much longer. Alexander Tonkin and Sean Miller, unfortunately, with the disconnect there. Pro-Am class, we do have Damiano Thurcolini taking the class win. Brock Godfrey in his god-awful livery takes P2, and Aiden White takes P3. In the AM class, we do have Julian Gray taking the win. Fantastic performance there by him, even with the penalty. And Beaton Robinson rounding out the AM class there. Now, the final question remaining for Split Green is driver of the day, gentlemen.
Oh, it's hard to go past Cook. We know we don't like to say that you put your race winner as your driver of the day, but Cook coming in and taking what was going to be a guaranteed towards the end of that second race there, guaranteed podium, and then keeping it on first. But yeah, Weatherburn as well, jumping a majority of the field. So yeah, I'm going to go with Yoda on this one.
I'm the same. I'm either going to go Yoda for race 2, and because it's tough. Like Brad, obviously went and won both races, kind of fell into the second race. But I'm going to go Hill for consistency over both the races. He didn't obviously win the races or anything, but he was consistently in the hunt.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to, purely based on race 2 and the recovery, but I'm gonna give it to Thurcolini there. He put enough fuel in the car. He made it to the finish line. Absolutely nailed the strategy. And no, he finished P9 and won the Pro-Am class. Obviously, first race, he was involved in one of the incidents there. But yeah, great second race there from him. And then great racing overall from Split Green, as we saw. A couple of small incidents, but most of it was just like very tight, closed door banging racing, and a couple of physics, as you said, from Kunos causing the incidents. But yeah, that was good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what these super sprints invite, that good, clean, exciting racing, and I was all for it, and it was great racing from Split Green, so well done, guys.
That's going to do it for us here today at Octane Online Racing. This has been round 2 of the Simrigs Sprint Series for Split Yellow and Green. Tomorrow evening we are back for Split Blue and Red, and then of course on Friday morning our time, or Thursday night EU and American time, we do have the European and North American splits as well. My name has been JP Sonicus. I've been joined by Connor Hind and Luke Johnson, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone. Cheers.